Happiness comes through relationships, through mutual understanding, through moving to your goal. When you have a goal, you get happiness from it. Our goal is happiness, but as we also have egoism, the Vedas say there are false ego and true ego. The false ego is misunderstanding of self. Ego means that you understand your personality, and we have this misunderstanding since birth. This misunderstanding means that I am happy only if I am in the center. You can see that a small child constantly demands attention. And when we become older, it stays, but it is more hidden. Each person still thinks about his own happiness more, but developed people that act from the true ego, the false ego belongs to our fate that torments us. By fate, each person has difficulties, and they are all in the field of our egoism. For example, where can we expect suffering? There, where we want to have happiness most. That's our ego. For example, a young woman wants to get married badly. How does egoism work? It's interesting. She wants to get married really badly. What next? Does she get married? No, here is what happens. She feels very sad. She loses her beauty. She is sad of loneliness. It destroys her beauty. And for a man, a wife means enjoyment. The wife is enjoyment with happiness. And when the woman wants to get married badly, she cannot give happiness because she is sad. As a result, she is lonely. On the other hand, if there is true egoism and the girl serves everyone, then her psyche is filled with relationships. When the woman is filled with relationships, she blossoms, she is attractive and she is looked at. When the woman is focused in the direction of ego, and ego eats your psyche up, then the person suffers in this area. For example, my psyche is focused on health. I want to be healthy. Does it mean that I will take care of my health? Not necessarily. To be healthy, you must be austere. That means there should be a goal in your life. I want to be happy, and that means that my psyche is focused on pain, where there is no health. And the more psychical energy there is, the more sensitive it is, and the more illnesses there are. For example, a man has problems with sexual functions. He is focused on it, and his problems increase. If you pay less attention to it, but you get developed personally, the problems go away. Focusing on your pain or problem is the starting point for the fate to torment us. And precisely this is the manifestation of false ego, misunderstanding of yourself as a personality. By nature, we are prone to serve and not to accept service. Actually, we are souls, we are eternal, and the biggest happiness we achieve is when we serve. For example, a mother that serves her child does not get ill, she is not bothered with herself, and she feels fine. And a man who self-improves, he takes care about his family, he has no time to be sick, he is active, but when a person relaxes, for example, you go on vacation, you get ill. There are fights also. There is this phenomenon. Two people did not even get there on their vacation and they get relaxed. When you relax, you want service for yourself. And in that moment, we're going on vacation, and this day before vacation, there is surely going to be a conflict, because each one wants to enjoy, he wants to receive happiness, and there is a contradiction, because each has a happiness of his own. Similarly, relationships in a collective work. Firstly, you must know that people usually confuse these things. People confuse business relationships with friendship and relative relationships. I have a lot of lectures for the leaders and managers, and we talk about all these types of relationships. If a person does not know about that, there will be big trouble. For example, a leader must know that he should not be friends with his subordinates. If he does it, then the collective falls apart, because subordinates have less responsibility, hence they want more personal benefits. And if he has relationships with his senior, then he wants to use these relationships. Also, the leader must never have a lover at his work, because through her the collective will be destroyed later. Maybe she will not do it on her own, but she will have friends that will make demands to affect the leader. There are rules that the person should follow when he creates relationships in the collective. Firstly, you must know this rule. Business relationships are based on duty and not love. Especially, women should understand that, because by nature, women do not build business relationships. This is quite revolutionary for some women. A woman's psyche is built of relatives' relationships, close. Intimacy is in woman's nature. Business relationships are manly. We can see that these relationships are prominent in the army, and this type of behavior, when orders are given, is alien to women. It is hard to imagine a woman being ordered like that. Women want intimate relationships. It is hard for her to take orders. It is the same in the family life. If someone wants to explain something to a woman, he must do it very softly and without pressure, because when a woman is pressed, she boils on the inside, she cannot accept it. But strictness is acceptable. When you're strict, it means that you are serious. The woman can accept it, but she does not accept rudeness or formalities, business style. But between colleagues, there is business style. It does not mean that a woman cannot behave businesslike. That means that it is hard for her. Her psyche is tensed, it wears off. She cannot do it for a long time. Even though she is a leader and she has a lot of strength, it is hard for her to do it for a long time. Women do not feel like taking more and more responsibility at work. They get tired of it. But men like it. The more control, the more strength there is for them. In general, women in working collectives tend to have close relationships, and they suffer because of it, as well as other people around. For example, if women have close relationships, there is always contradiction to business relationships. For example, two women became friends and they must work. In work, there are certain demands. And one woman takes it lightly and does not work so hard, and the friend next to her understands that it's wrong, and she cannot do a remark because they have close relationships. If she does a remark, then her friend is resentful, and there is a conflict because business relationships, in this case, are destroyed by a desire to have close relationships. Women want to be friends. Basic needs of a woman at work are: there must be time to speak on the phone, there must be time for snacks, to have some tea, there must be opportunity to leave earlier from time to time, and to be a little late. Is it not so? This is what women want at work, but it has nothing to do with work at all. And that means unbusinesslike approach. So in relationships with women, managers must be very strict, they must keep distance, there must be a job description, and as it is hard for a woman to work at all, her field is family, she is stronger there, she has more opportunities to use her mind. And it is much harder for a woman at work because there is difference between man's and woman's mind. A woman is very strong in the field of life where everything is known, and a man is strong there where he must demonstrate his innovative abilities, his character, where he needs to achieve something, to break through, so there is something unknown. For example, school. The first, second, third grade, we see that boys study worse. For girls, everything is known. Here is home task, here is my textbook, and we see that girls study really well, and they pass all exams, they have A's, and boys are a bit lost, but gradually. But when studying goes on, there is more and more new material, then boys become stronger, because when there is much new, they feel better and they study better. Similarly, at work, a woman is very dependent on how her tasks are well defined. And she must also know where there are some slacks, because the woman has one problem at work. Her psyche is like a river. It also moves there where there is something interesting. If she loses interest, she has no enthusiasm. She does not care about salary. If it is not interesting to her, then there are a few stages of situation development. There are 4 stages. The first is the woman is interested, it is all great, she does not get tired. Stage 2, I am bored. That means she becomes tired and it is difficult to work. Stage 3, I do not want to work there anymore. I'm tired. And stage 4, I quit. Is this familiar? Who has been working in one place without these waves? Please raise your hands. What job do you have? I ask this question because there are professions for women where they are strong. You see, there were just 3 women. 25 years in epaulets. Epaulets? Who are you? I work in a maximum security prison. And you have no disappointments? It is all great? Do you have a family? And it is great? Yes. Well, that is extremely rare. That's an exception. But such things also happen. Who else? Please tell us. Security. Women in Omsk are very unusual. The point is that I work a 24-hour shift and then I devote 3 days to my children. Oh, I see. And is it the same for you? Well, it's okay. It happens like that. Women can work, it's okay. I will describe a woman's field of work. Women are very strong there where there are children. When you have to raise and teach children, these are kindergartens, these are schools. People are different by nature, but all women are natural teachers. So any woman can teach something to children, to pass the knowledge. The first teacher in your life is your mother. The next field is cooking. Women are always confident there. There are no shifts, no waves there. The next field is taking care of old people, and the next is treatment. Also charities and taking care about the nature, like working with plants, animals. Women are confident and they feel well there. There are intimate relationships with children, with old people. It is much easier for women, but characters are different. For example, you two have a strong character and you can feel well in any environment. But that is rare. Normally, women are very sensitive and they have difficulties inside about any work. But there are some women that cannot work anywhere at all. They just cannot, because their sensitivity is higher than ability to take business relationships. Raise your hand if you are like that. That's normal. That's womanly nature to be in the family. You do not have to work. Anyway, if there are women at work, then the manager must know a few things. Firstly, you cannot establish close relationships with women in the team. In Sanskrit, woman is a stri. Stri is translated as something that expands constantly. A woman always expands her authority. If the manager has familiar relationships with the woman, that means that sooner or later she will control him. He will be under her influence because the woman is a diplomat by nature. Relationships is the field of any woman. She knows how to control them and to be in charge. So the manager must keep distance from women. Although they will try to get closer, this tendency will always be there. The second rule is that you must be more lenient to women in the team, in your collective. A woman is more obedient by nature, and so she torments herself when she is asked to do something. And her psyche works like a capacitor. First, she stays for long hours, and she is asked because it is more difficult to ask men. The woman is obedient, and she follows the orders of her boss. Women are more obedient in relationships, and so she stays extra hours, she works more, but as business relationships are very difficult for her, it exhausts her psyche, and in her memory there is this violence that she had at work. As a result, she is not going to work long there. And the manager must understand that if there is a woman on the team, then her work schedule must be very fixed. You cannot try to give extra job that causes a rebel in the psyche of a woman, even though she is prone to obey and to do what she is asked. The next important rule is that if there are women at work, there surely are going to be quarrels. Women still will have close relationships with each other. There will be gossips, and they will go as high as the manager. And if the manager said a bit too much that one of women works better and she is closer to him, then she is the one that will come to him and tell everything. There constantly will be some quarrels, some difficulties in relationships. It is inevitable when there are women on the team. So if there are women in your collective at work, there always will be difficulties. And the best thing to do is to give strict boundaries for women, but very kind approach. You should be very kind to women at work, but in firm boundaries, with no exceptions. Because one exception leads to another, and then it becomes a rule. If you allow a woman to do something once, then it becomes a rule. She is free, she expands her authority. There must be no exceptions for women. And there is another reason for that. Women see everything very well and they are very envious when another woman is allowed more. That causes great pain in the heart. If a woman sees that someone has advantages in relationships, that is very hurtful at work. And there go problems. She demands her rights, so there must be no exceptions, no advantages, everything must be according to written rules. I am not speaking about some deep things, these are mere rules about human mind. I'm not saying that woman's nature is worse than man's. Women are the better part of humanity, they are made of love energy, and as it is sensitive, there are difficulties. Male collective also has its peculiarities, and the first one is that a man does not understand remarks. A man's psyche does not get advices and remarks, and on the contrary, a female psyche does not understand punishment, but accepts advices and remarks. A male psyche only understands actions. For example, there is a man on the team and he did something wrong. If you say something to him, you make a remark, that changes nothing in his behavior. There must be an action. And then he will sober up. Similarly, when you teach your boy, if you tell him, don't do this, it does not work. There must be an action, some boundary, some punishment, some strong action that brings him to senses and he understands at once that he should not do it. The man's psyche is more fixed and persistent in desire to do what he does. There is persistence in behavior in some field. Women are more loyal, softer. A woman's persistence is obvious in personal life. She is like a stone, she is unbending. So relationships are always the way a woman wants in personal life. If there are family relationships, they must be the way the woman needs, not man. Otherwise there will be problems, some destructions. Sooner or later, inevitably it will be the way the woman wants, because her psyche is very firm in personal relationships and very soft and loyal in business relationships. But the man's psyche, his mind in business relationships is very firm and resilient. So you must have strict rules with men. How do you think? Who is more capable of doing some work not according to the inner calling, a man or a woman? The woman? You are mistaken. The woman can only do what he is not meant to as long as she can. She can do anything. You ask her and she will, but for a very short time. Because she does it out of love and respect. But as for the long term, for a woman it is better to work where she likes it and she is interested, otherwise she will not last. So when you hire a woman, first ask her what she likes. It is easy for a woman to get employed. They agree to everything. Will you do this? I will. I will do anything, just hire me. They agree to everything, but some time passes and appears that everything is wrong. She does not want to do this, she does not like that, that is difficult. So when you interview a woman, you must understand what she likes, and then you can hire her for that. If it matches, she likes this and there is a job opening, it's great, she will do a lot of good. There are work fields for women and for men. For men are the ones where willpower is required, achieving something, and for women are the ones with relationships and association. For example, answering a phone. What exactly do you do at your work? You work at a checkpoint, so you have relationships. You speak to people. That is a female work, because giving orders and punishing is not for women. There must be relationships for women. In general, you should understand that there are three types of managers in any field, depending on development of personality. There are managers in the mode of ignorance who only care about their profit, and mostly they treat people like expendables. In such collective, normally the atmosphere is either rude or cold. The atmosphere depends on the manager. Cold atmosphere means that you work, you receive your money, and you go away. No relationships, no celebrations for everyone. Nothing connects people but their work. They are just like ants. They come, they work, they leave. That is ignorant, and people on such team lose individuality and suffer greatly. We have a lot of it. It is very hard to work like that, and it always comes from the manager. The second type is mode of passion. It's a bit different. When the atmosphere is passionate, then the collective cares much about reputation. Everyone is well dressed, they talk politely. Relationships are very refined, elaborate, showy, smiles on the faces, elaborate delicacy. In such collectives, there is some brand, they have some reputation, they are cool, they have their style. It is very attractive from the outside. It feels like there are relationships and something serious, because the looks is very important to them. They have business style of relationships, there is order, very correct behavior, and so on. But in such collectives, a person is still an expendable. Because if there is no need for you in such a team, you are fired. You simply get kicked out of an ignorant collective. But here you will be told, "Thank you very much for your cooperation, but we no longer require your services." It's about the same. But that is unavoidable. I guess that maybe 60% of all work is passionate, probably about 20% in ignorance, and the rest in the mode of goodness. In collectives, creativity in work is valued, and people who like to work. There people gather together for holidays and they take care about each other. The managers take care about their employees. If a person gets sick, he has time to get fine. If there is some trouble, everyone helps. The managers in goodness collectives usually has conscience. You can speak to him like a person and he will try to help you. People are not kicked out for nothing. There is always a very serious reason for firing. In goodness collectives, the leader, the manager, looks strict, but on the inside he is kind. In passionate collectives, the leader looks kind, but he is cold and strict on the inside. He does not really need people, but he is very polite to them. And it is even simpler in ignorant collectives. The manager hits the table, swears, and everything is decided. Raise your hands who work in ignorant collectives, in passionate and in goodness, and who does not work, and others abstained from voting. As I supposed, mostly people work in passionate collectives. What does your place of work depend on? There is personal development, and a person associates himself with the way he develops. There is development and there is fate, what drags after him. For example, the person lived with certain attitude and he gets his job accordingly. Your job is what you had in your past. It does not change at once, because first the person changes his fate, his surroundings, and only then work changes, and later family, meaning family relationships, change. It all depends on the karma. The lightest karma is friends, so you can change your friends quickly. You have new interests, you have new friends. But to change your work, to have goodness work, it is more different. You need better faith, you have more piety in your heart. Piety is your selfless deeds that give you happiness and development. Because ignorant people just use their past karma for as long as they want, and they do nothing for future happiness, they just use. False ego does not give you happiness, only true ego gives development and happiness. Passionate people sometimes do right, sometimes wrong, so it does not get better or worse for them in life. But people in the mode of goodness who try to wish everyone happiness and self-improve, they have more piety and gradually their life changes for better in some deep matters. First they have a better work collective, then it is better in the family, but first there must be a new attitude to yourself and to God. Let us speak about how to behave in different work collectives. In ignorant collectives, you must wish everyone happiness, follow your duties, and not have close relationships. You must not try to live there, you only do your duties. For example, no one considers living in the bathroom. You just do what you have to there and you leave. There is no life there. But, well, some people do live there, they even put a TV. They like to stay for long there, but that is perversion. Bathroom is an ignorant place. Similarly, when the atmosphere is angry and rude, you must not try to live there. Life is love. In an ignorant collective, you have no friendship, you just work and live. For example, you get a friend there. That's great. But along with that, you get an enemy. Because if you try to have close relationships in ignorant collective, that causes anger from other people, and God forbid you reveal your spiritual feelings there, you will be considered a sectarian at once. In passionate collectives, you must reveal your creativity. You can demonstrate it. You can emerge into your work, into activities. You can find comrades, like friends you like to work with, to exchange business information, to develop in the business field. There is some freedom there, but there is no spiritual life. If you try to tell there about what you heard in the lectures, no one will understand you. They will ask, why do you need it? What is that? There is no freedom for spiritual life. You cannot exchange some deep feelings, and you should not try to do it. It is wrong. It will bring suffering. You will ask, then when can I associate? There should be another atmosphere for that. If you want to open your heart, then you need to find your faith, because goodness people always associate in atmosphere where there are people with similar interests and they develop spiritually. There are special places for that. Passionate people are afraid of faith, and ignorant people think that is nonsense. Passionate people think that faith is unnecessary, and goodness people strive for spirituality. They want moral inner development. So you should attend such lectures. You should search for goodness association. It may be a temple, some cultural events. There are pilgrimages. We organize this event, a little advertisement now. We make Blagast Goodness Festival. It takes place in Anapa. Raise your hands, those who attended. Amazingly, none. Then you should know there is Blagast Festival. Over 600 people come. We have a separate festival for children, and morning till evening people self-improve. They learn how to live. There is yoga, pranayama, tsegun, dancing for women. We have concerts in the evening, different plays. It's very great. There are trainings and lectures all day long. A lot of great lecturers. Very tasty food cooked with love. No one smokes or drinks or swears. Everyone smiles and greets each other. It lasts 2 weeks. After 2 weeks in such atmosphere, people cannot leave. They go with tears in their eyes. That is amazing. It changes lives of people, and often young women who can find no one go there and get acquainted with nice young men. People are usually secluded in their business. They have work and home. It is hard for people to find association, good surrounding to live in. Also in ВКонтакте social network there are different groups, and one of them called The Laws of Happy Life. There are over 200,000 people. People can associate there. The festival is coming soon. It starts on the 24th of September. Please come. We still have vacancies. You can come and experience this atmosphere of development. A lot of mentors, a lot of my friends come there. They are very interesting people. And there is something similar here. Study it, search. If you want inner development, you want relationships, you want to learn how to live right, you need proper association. Work and home are not enough. You have personal relationships at home, but often they are not too deep. People think that personal relationships is that my spouse must understand me, but it is not necessarily so. Mutual understanding between spouses only develop when these relationships are spiritual. I'm going to tell you how it happens. If a family was created as it usually is based on liking, that does not mean that people at once become close. Liking means enjoying each other and sharing some intimate words, but real closeness, real intimacy means that a person can open his heart and share his spiritual realizations and faith. Liking does not imply that you can open your heart and tell about your faith. As soon as you do, it will tense your spouse, because liking is selfish. There is no purity. These relationships are based on egoism. So, for the atmosphere of purity to appear in the family and mutual understanding, there are 3 stages. First, acceptance. You must accept your spouse with all his flaws. The second is respect. That means that you value the person. You see something pure and deep. He does not just enjoy you, he is pleasant. You feel his purity, his value. And the third stage is faithfulness. I have lectures devoted to these 3 stages. It is not easy to make a family where you can open your heart and speak of very intimate things. That is uneasy. It is easier to do it in spiritual environment, where people gather together to do it, to open their hearts and to discuss spiritual topics. Look for such association. Let us make an experiment and discuss practically your problems at work. What business relationships problems do you have? If you are brave and you can open your heart, please raise your hands and we will discuss it. And so we will see in general how to overcome these difficulties. Please pass the microphone. I have been working in that place for a long time and we had good close relationships. Close relationships is not good. We were friends. What do you mean friends? What did you discuss? Everything. You had tea together, goodbye work. But that's okay for women. You think that's good? Okay, what's the problem? I told my friend about my work. She liked it. I invited her, and the collective was dissatisfied with me bringing my friend. And now I have to suffer because of it. But it was my boss's decision. So my work colleagues are disappointed. And there is a girl at my work and she is related to the manager. It is all according to the lecture. So he fell under their influence.
Вы сейчас работаете там?
Do you still work there?
Работаете, да?
You do.
Очень хорошо, мне все нравится.
Very good. I like it very much. This is an interesting topic to discuss. All mistakes were made. First mistake, you made friends with someone at work. There was envy and the collective parted into groups. And the second mistake is that the manager has a relative at work. That's another problem for everyone. The third is you are close people by spirit with her, but that means you are enemies to everyone else. We just wish them happiness from afar. You see, these spiritual relationships at work, people become very tense because of it. They have business relationships, and it is hard for them. Just imagine this. You sit and work, you have business relationships, and next to you, someone also work, but kiss from time to time. Is that okay? No. And that's the same. If you have close relationships, you look at each other, it is hard for people to work in such atmosphere. You have your aura, you create atmosphere, and it is hard for other people to be next to you. So, at work, you must leave your spiritual interests aside, but we do not show it. Everything is revealed at work. You should be more humble and modest. Look what I advise you. In all situations, there is actions from false ego and true ego. There are difficulties at any work because there is false ego. People come to work to satisfy their personal interests. Hearts are not open there. Where there is false ego, there is no love. But where there is love, any ice will melt. And you should know rules, how to melt ice in business relationships. The first rule: you should not interfere in any gossips or intrigues. You should not care what goes on there. You just work and live. The second rule: when you pray in the morning, daily, you should wish happiness to all your colleagues and ask for forgiveness and forgive those whom you have difficulties in relationships with, where karma works. The next rule: when you meet a person, smile to him and greet him. Make 3 columns and write it down. Ignorant person, passionate and goodness. Try to be more open with goodness people and serve them openly. I mean, you can make some treats for them every day, give them something. They will accept it happily and they will do the same in return. It takes long time to build relationships with passionate people. You should work with them, do all your duties, keep your promises, and you should refrain from discussing some deep topics. You should not go deep into details with passionate people. If there is some discussion, leave it. Do not have close, intimate relationships. Just friendly and well-wishing. With ignorant people, you do your duties from afar, you agree to everything, do not argue at all, and stay away.
Все.
Do what you need and leave.
Обижать, оскорблять.
They
Но
will
надо
be
всегда им
insolent,
прощать
they
и
will
не
insult
обращать на
you,
них внимания.
but you
Как
should
собака
forgive
гавкает,
them
будете
and
не
ignore.
обижать, что она
Like
грубо
you
с
do
вами
not
разговаривает,
get
правильно?
offended when a
Также с
dog
невежественным
barks at
человеком
you.
надо себя вести,
And
понимать, что он
similarly,
просто
you should
находится на
be
такой волне,
with
на
an
которой
ignorant
нет
person
выхода,
because he is
нет
in
разрешения
such a
ситуации. Надо
state
просто
where there
спускать
is
на
no
тормозах.
solution. You just leave it be.
Но у вас нормально, вы
But
в
do you
коллективе
work
хорошо
well in
работаете? У
that
вас все
team?
нормально в коллективе?
Well,
О
yes.
чем мы говорим тогда?
Then why do we talk here?
Нормально, хорошо, спасибо. Но все
Well,
равно мы о
okay.
чем-то говорим.
Thank you.
У
Still,
кого
we
есть трудности в
discuss
коллективе?
this matter. Who has
Который
difficulties at
хочет-
work?
Да, вот, да, отдайте назад. Кто хочет со мной поговорить? Да.
Please give the microphone back. There are women at work,
Я согласен, это тяжело.
and that's hard. Yes, that is. And I earned a little
О, это
more
еще
than
тяжелее, это
others.
означает зависть.
That's even worse.
Всё,
That
это
is
означает,
envy.
вас мучить будут, да.
In the atmosphere is
Вообще, в
tense.
целом коллективе
Tense
атмосфера
how?
напряженная.
In general?
А,
Is your boss, your manager, a man or a woman? Both, two managers, a man and a woman, not married.
между ними какие отношения?
And what are relationships
Деловые?
between them?
Или
Business?
симпатия?
Or liking? I can't tell.
Выпивают вместе, да?
They drink together.
А люди как, грубо
And do
разговаривают или
people
вежливо друг с
talk
другом?
rudely or
Вежливо.
politely?
Есть
politely.
какая-то у фирмы какой-то статус там? Ну, значит,
The
страсть,
company
атмосфера
has a reputation. That means
какой
there is
совет?
more passion. My
Не
advice
открывайте
is,
сердце в этом коллективе.
do not open your heart there.
Старайтесь обязательно делать
Try
какие-то
to
подарки всем.
do some presents
хорошее
for
делать для
everyone.
всех.
Do
Найдите
something good
способ,
for
как
everyone.
сделать приятно
Find your
каждому
way
человеку.
to please
Например,
each
если у вас
person.
день рождения,
For example, if
то
you have a
покупайте
birthday, buy
подарки
presents
всем до
for
одного
every
члену
single
коллектива.
team member.
Просто здоровайтесь и улыбайтесь всем.
Greet
Желайте
everyone
всем
and
счастья.
smile.
И когда
Wish
начинаются
everyone
сплетни,
happiness, and
не
when there are
участвуйте
gossips,
никогда, не занимайте
never
ничью
take part
позицию
in
в этой
them.
сплетне.
Take no
И
sides.
если кто-то обсуждает
And
вашу
if someone
зарплату,
discusses your
извиняйтесь
salary,
и говорите, что
excuse
простите, так
yourself,
получилось, как бы,
tell
я
that you are sorry for that and that you have
не
nothing to
защищайте
say.
свои права на зарплату.
Do not prove your right for
А
the
просто
bigger
как бы
salary.
уважительно относитесь
Just be
ко всем.
respectful to everyone. The relationships got better with your lectures.
А что вы
What did
сделали
you
для
do
улучшения?
for that? I
А вот
pray
то,
and
что я
wish
сказал,
happiness
дарите подарки.
and giving presents. No, there's a lot of ignorance there, alcohol.
Ну ничего страшного.
That's
Вот
okay.
прощайте людям их выпивку,
Forgive
нормально.
people
Вы знаете, что
for
люди пьют,
drinking.
потому что они не могут
Do you
не
know
пить?
that people drink because
Я
they
медитировал
cannot
вообще на
not to
человека,
drink?
который склонен,
I meditated on a person who is prone to drinking.
глубже в
I
психику
went deeper
погружался,
and deeper
пытался
into
понять,
his
что он
psyche,
делает.
trying to understand why he
Смотрите,
drank.
у человека есть
A
определенное
person
количество
needs
счастья,
a
которое ему
certain
нужно для
amount of
жизни.
happiness he needs for living.
Если этого счастья нет,
If
то
there
всё
is no,
разрушается,
everything is
здоровье, всё
destroyed,
разрушается.
including health.
Понимаете? И есть три способа
And
получать
there are
это
three
счастье.
ways to
Первый
receive
способ
this happiness. The
это
first
получать
is
счастье там, где его надо получать
to
человеку.
get it
Это
where everyone is
вера,
supposed to.
духовная жизнь.
That is
Там
faith
человек
and spiritual
получает
life.
свое счастье.
You
Это
get
источник
happiness
его
there.
счастья.
That
Даже
is
просто,
the
если женщина
source.
верит в ребенка, это
Even
означает,
if
что она уже
a
будет
mother
получать
believes in
свое
her
счастье,
child,
и
that
она
means
не
that
будет
she
пить.
will receive her happiness and she will not
Второй
drink.
способ – это
The
получать
second way
счастье
is to
из
receive
цели.
happiness
То есть
from the
человек
goal.
поставил цель построить дом.
The
там.
person has the goal to
Если
build
цель
a house.
материальная, то это временный
If
способ,
the
потому
goal
что
is
когда мы
material,
строим
it
дом,
is
всё хорошо.
temporary,
Когда мы не
because
можем
while we
строить, то это
construct
источник
our house, it is all
страдания уже и
fine.
разрушения,
And when we
а не
can't,
счастья,
it is
наоборот,
a
получается.
cause of suffering and
И
destruction
третий способ
instead of
получать
happiness.
счастье
And the third
– это
way
невежественный способ.
is ignorant.
Это развлечение.
It is having fun.
Развлечение. И знаете, почему люди из
And
развлечения пытаются
do you
понять,
know
как
why
получить
people try
счастье?
to receive happiness from
Потому что
leisure
у них нет
pastime?
другого выхода.
Because they have
У
no
них
other
нет цели
choice.
такой в жизни, которая
They
бы
have
давала
no
им
goal
счастье.
in life that
И у
would
них нет
give them happiness,
духовности и веры.
and they have no faith
Они ни во что не
and
верят.
spiritual life.
У них остается только
The
одно —
only
это снимать
thing
с себя
left is
напряжение
to
развлечениями. И
relieve
поэтому у них
stress
есть несколько
by
вариантов. Первый
entertaining.
вариант —
And there
это
also are some
простой,
options.
выпивка.
There is
Потому
an
что когда
easy
человек
option to
выпивает,
drink.
то психика его,
When the
она
person
входит в
drinks,
определенную
his
зону,
psyche gets
сферу
into a certain
жизни.
area of
Эта
life.
зона,
That
которая
area
контролируется тонкими
is
сущностями,
controlled
которые
by
называются веселящие
subtle
духи.
beings. They are
То, что
called
происходит в
merry
это время с
spirits.
людьми.
What
Когда
happens to
человек
people
выпивает,
then?
его психика
The
входит
person
немножко в
drinks,
другое измерение,
and
в
his
котором
psyche
действуют эти
is in a
духи.
bit
И он
different dimension where there are
с ними
these spirits,
устанавливает такие
and he
отношения. Они ему
establishes
дают
relationships
счастье,
with them. They
веселящие
give
духи
him
дают счастье
happiness,
человеку, а человек ему
these
взамен
spirits,
отдает
and
свою
in
волю.
return the person
То есть, другими
gives away
словами,
his
возникает
will,
привычка,
and it
то есть
turns
получать
into a
счастье
habit
из этого
to
источника
receive
и ни с
happiness
какого
from
другого.
this source and
Поэтому
no
люди,
other.
которые не имеют
And
склонности
people
жить для
who
своей цели, как это
are not
люди живут
prone
в
to
страсти,
live
или
for
жить
some goal,
для
like passionate people,
возвышенных каких-то вещей,
or
для своей веры,
to
как это
live for
делают люди
faith,
благости.
like
Когда
goodness
человек
people.
не имеет таких интересов, то у него
When
только
the
один
person
выход —
does not have these
это
things, the only thing left for him
получать
is
счастье там, где есть счастье.
to
То есть
receive
развлекаться,
happiness
себя отвлекать, развлекаться.
wherever, to have
Любой
fun.
человек склонен отдыхать.
Any
Это нормально.
person wants to
Но
have rest, that's normal.
благостные люди
But
даже в
goodness
отдыхе,
people,
они
even
пытаются
when resting,
как-то в атмосфере веры
try
находиться.
to be in the
Страстные люди
atmosphere
даже в
of faith.
отдыхе говорят о
Passionate
делах,
people,
о своей
even
цели.
at leisure,
А
talk
неверующие
about
люди,
business
они
and
отдых
their
ставят
goal.
основой жизни.
And
То есть для них
ignorant
святое — это
people
святое,
put
выпить — это
leisure
святое.
above all.
И мы сейчас
Drinking
видим,
is
что культура
sacred
в
to
сторону
them.
невежества
And
уходит,
we
и
see that
поэтому,
culture moves
любой
to
праздник,
ignorance,
в
and
центре вставания
any
икона стоит, как
holiday
раньше, а бутылка
has
уже.
a bottle in the center
Поминки,
instead
бутылка,
of an
свадьба,
icon
бутылка.
as before. Be
Любой
that a
праздник —
wedding
бутылка.
or a
Без бутылки
funeral,
нет
there is
праздника.
always a
Это
bottle.
означает невежество.
That is
Невежество — это
ignorance.
Я вам не зря сказал вчера
I told you
о свадьбе,
about the
которой
wedding
был, там не было
yesterday,
бутылок,
and there
не было
were no
сигарет,
bottles.
там было
no
настоящее
cigarettes.
веселье и счастье.
People
Некоторые
really
люди
had
думают, что
fun
без
and
бутылки
they
нет
were
счастья,
happy.
нет драйва.
Some people think that without
полное
alcohol there is
заблуждение.
no happiness, no
Когда
drive,
люди
but that is illusion.
не в пьяном угаре веселятся,
When
а
people
веселятся
have fun
по-настоящему,
for real,
просто
not
от
drunk,
радости друг
just
другу,
because
то
they
это
are
совсем
happy,
другое веселье.
that is
Это
completely
веселье
different.
много порядков выше и чище.
It
И
is
когда
much
такое
higher
веселье
and
видишь,
much
что
purer.
это
And when you
незабываемое
see
зрелище.
such
Как у нас
fun,
на фестивале благости,
it is unbelievable, like at our festival Благость, goodness. People are united into one family in 2 weeks. 600 people get acquainted, then they keep in touch.
Пьянство означает
Alcoholism
безвыходная ситуация.
means
Человек не может жить без
hopeless
этого. У него нет
situation.
возможности
The
получать
person
счастье
cannot
только в
live
любви.
without it.
А
He
также
can
азартные игры,
receive
а
happiness
также
nowhere
вот
else.
эти фильмы
And
ужасов,
also
и
gambling
интернет, вот этот весь
and
погружение
horror
в
movies
компьютерные игры. Это
and
безвыходная
internet,
ситуация. У человека нет
computer
возможности
gaming.
где-то получать счастье
There is
в
no
другой.
way out. The
У
person
него
has no
нет
other
возможности,
sources of
потому что
happiness.
человек без счастья жить не
No
может, а
one
есть
can
три
live
зоны
without
счастья. Есть
happiness.
невежественное счастье,
And
это
there are
развлечение и
different types of
деградация по
happiness.
факту, потому что развлечение
Just
всегда
having
приводит к
fun
деградации,
is ignorant
любые
and it leads to
развлечения. Если это цель
degradation,
жизни.
if that is the goal of your life.
Дальше
Next,
счастье в труде
happiness
или
in
цель
work,
в работе
or
приводит
when
человека
the
к
goal
уменьшению
is
свободного
work,
времени, к увеличению напряжения и
there is
изнашиванию
less
психики.
free time,
Человек становится
more
как
tension,
автомат, он очень
and the
напряженно
person
живет.
is exhausted. He becomes
Это
very
страстная
tense.
среда, деловая
That is
среда.
a
Люди очень
business
напряжены и
environment,
изнашиваются быстро.
mode of passion. People get exhausted very
И
quickly.
третья зона
And
счастья —
the
это
third
счастье,
area of
связанное
happiness
с
is
работой над собой, духовная
happiness in
среда,
self-improvement,
молитвы.
spiritual
Там
environment,
бесконечное
prayers.
возрастание счастья. Там
Happiness
счастье становится
increases
всё больше и
endlessly
больше.
there.
Нет
There is more and
никакого
more,
предела этому.
and no limit to
Нет
it at
никакого
all.
конца. Поэтому в этом,
No
потому
end.
что в этом и есть цель человеческой
Because that is
жизни,
the goal
разумеется.
of a human
Поэтому
intelligent life.
перестаньте в этой
Stop
среде
searching for shelter
свое
in
прибежище.
this environment.
Приходите
Go
туда,
to
потому что
your
там
work
вы
because
обязаны быть.
that
Там
is your
место, где вы
duty.
должны
You earn your
зарабатывать
money
свой
there.
доход.
That
Так
is what
захотел
God
Господь.
wants.
Желайте счастья и
Wish
сельским людям,
happiness
и не
to
стройте с ними
all your
близких
colleagues
отношений.
and do not
Вы
have
будете
close
удовлетворены
relationships
своей
with
жизнью
them,
полностью,
and you
потому
will
что
be
ваше сердце
fully
будет
satisfied in your
открываться
life.
там, где ему положено
Your heart
открываться,
will open where
закрываться
it
там,
is
где ему
supposed
положено
to, and
закрываться.
it will close where it's supposed to.
Представьте, человек в
Imagine
трамвае
a person
зашел и
gets
говорит:
on
«Я
a
желаю
tram
вам
and
всем
says,
счастья».
I wish everyone
Они говорят: «Ты
happiness.
что, дурак, пойдем
Are you
в
crazy?
психушку».
Let us take you to a
Видите,
mental
это означает
institution.
неправильное
That means
смешение отношений, неправильное поведение там,
confusing
где,
relationships,
ну,
wrong
там в этой
behavior
среде нельзя так себя вести.
in
Это неправильное
some
поведение.
environment.
Я могу немножко рассказать о моем коллективе.
I can tell you a little about my collective, my team.
В основном, где мы лечим
There
людей.
are 60 people.
Все эти
Mostly it
люди
is our
занимаются
health
духовной
center
практикой.
where we
Для
treat
всех для них
people.
я наставник.
Everyone
Я не
does
руководитель в этом
spiritual
коллективе,
practice,
я
and
наставник
I
и
am not
учитель.
the manager. I am
Вот.
the
И там
mentor
есть
and
руководители,
the
есть
teacher to all of them.
старшие,
There
есть
are
обязанности трудовые,
managers,
есть
there are
наказания,
seniors,
есть
we have
поощрение. Всё то же
job
самое.
duties,
Но
we
там
have punishments
эти все
and
люди, когда работа
remuneration,
заканчивается,
and
они
when the work
едут
is
по
over,
субботам и по
on
воскресеньям мы
Saturdays
собираемся
and
вместе
Sundays
на
we
духовные
gather
мероприятия,
together for
молимся или праздники
spiritual
какие-то у нас.
events, we
Кто-то
pray or
готовит
we
спектакли
have
песни,
holidays. There
кто-то
are
готовит
plays
лекции.
and songs,
Каждую
someone cooks for
субботу у
everyone.
нас праздник.
Each Saturday we have a festival,
Молимся
we
там,
gather
готовят
together, we pray,
вкусные блюда готовят,
we have a
какие-то
nice
реализации, опыт
feast,
духовный.
we
Каждое
share our
воскресенье у нас
realizations.
совместная молитва, и как бы
Each Sunday we pray
я
together,
общаюсь со своими
and I talk to those who consider me their mentor.
старшим, даю им свои
I
наставления.
give my instructions to them.
На
That
работе
is the way we
деловые
live.
отношения.
But at work we have
Там
business
как бы
relationships.
там не строим вот этих близких
We do
отношений,
not have
деловые отношения.
close, intimate
Но они
relationships at
отличаются
work,
от обычных
but
деловых
still they
отношений,
are
потому что
different
все в
than
этом коллективе знают,
ordinary business relationships,
что
because
они
everyone
трудятся
knows
для Бога,
that
потому что вся
we
прибыль идет
work
на
for
духовное
God,
развитие,
because
не
all
кому-то в
profit
карман.
goes to spiritual development
И
and
также
not
они
in
знают, что
someone's
они делают
pocket.
очень важное
And
дело для
also
людей,
they
лечим
know
людей,
that
то есть мы- у нас
they
высокий
do something
цель.
important.
Наша цель,
We
чтобы
treat
люди были
people.
здоровы и
Our
счастливы.
goal is
Каждый
to make
ставит
people
себе
happy
цель
and healthy.
и идет к этой цели. Создается чистая,
We have
теплая
a
среда.
pure,
Те, кто
warm
у нас
atmosphere.
учился, они видели
Those
эту
who
атмосферу.
have been to our health
Есть
center,
кто
experienced it,
Вы
raise your
почувствовали?
hands who've been to our health center. Did you
От
feel
людей
it?
исходит вот такая чистота,
Did
что
you
они
feel that
склонны
purity
заботиться,
comes from people that
внимательно
they want
относиться и
to
так далее.
take care about you?
Да? Да?
Yes? I would like to come back to the matter of happiness. Happiness is the process of enjoying. Is there some misconception? Is happiness enjoyment or something else? The state of
Спасибо вам.
enjoyment
Спасибо
or...
вам большое. Это очень важный вопрос.
Thank
Вы
you
прям
for
попали
your
в точку.
important question,
Ну, наверное, вы знаете ответ уже.
but I guess you know the answer if you asked it.
Хорошо. Хорошо, хорошо.
Yes, yes, thank
Я
you.
расскажу об этом, это важно.
This is important.
Веды объясняют,
The
что
Vedas explain that happiness is a very elusive energy.
невозможно добиться.
It is impossible to achieve it.
Оно убегает от
If
них.
a person runs after happiness, happiness runs away from him.
Само стремление к счастью
Because this striving for happiness means
А в этой сфере
egoism
кажется, что
and
счастья не
interestedness, and there is no happiness
бывает.
there.
И любовь, это
Happiness or love
бескорыстное,
are selfless. It is about self-sacrifice.
человек,
And for
который
that
начинает
reason, the person
в настроении служения жить,
who
заботы
starts
о
to
других,
live
а это
in
настроение
service,
очень
in
трудно
the mood of
поддерживать в
service,
себе.
and
Это возможно
it is really
поддерживать
difficult
только с
to
помощью
sustain
мысли о
this
старших,
mood.
о возвышенных
It is
людях.
only
Фактически
possible by
у
thinking
человека
about
нет
the seniors.
внутренней способности
In fact, the
своей
person does
личной
not
быть
have
бескорыстным.
inner
Ну,
capacity
допустим,
to be
приведу пример.
selfless.
Я
For
пошел,
example,
денежку просто положил
I went and
какому-то
give money
нищему.
to some
И
beggar.
я пойду потом, я если
And
даже это
then,
бескорыстно сделал, у меня все
even
равно
if I
возникнут
did it
мысли,
selflessly,
может,
I
он их
will
не так,
think,
не так истратит эти
maybe
деньги. То есть, видите,
he is
корысть все
going
равно
to spend it
присутствует. То
wrong.
есть, что-то
So
отдал,
still
и все равно
there is
какие-то
some
мысли могут
interest.
возникнуть.
You give
Нет
something
гарантии
away,
полной,
but
что
you
ты
have these
прямо
thoughts.
с чистым сердцем это
There
все
is no
сделал, и до
guarantee
свидания.
you do it
Полной
with
гарантии нет.
a light
Но
heart.
если ты сделал
But
это по
if
совету
you
наставника,
do it by your
потому
mentor's
что старший
advice,
так хочет,
because
гарантия
your
есть
senior
100%.
wants it,
Вот это вот
there
влияние
is a
старших или
100%
святости,
guarantee.
оно дает
This
полную
effect of
гарантию
holiness
бескорыстия.
gives
И
guarantee
тогда
of selflessness,
человек
and
живет
then
в
the
сфере
person
счастья.
lives in
Вот одно
happiness.
дело, я читаю
It's
лекцию
one
от себя,
thing if
а
I
другое
read
дело,
a
я
lecture
читаю
from
лекцию, потому
myself,
что меня
and the
благословил
whole
старший. Это
other
разные
if I
принципиальные
do it from
состояния.
my senior
Когда человек живет
by his
в
blessing.
настроении
It is very
служения,
different.
желании
When the
заботиться о
person
других,
lives in the mood of service and
пропадает
desire to
интерес
serve
выяснять
everyone,
отношения вообще.
he has no interest in arguments.
Вот, допустим, в этом зале
For example, in this hall,
вы все пришли слушать мою лекцию.
you all came to
Но
listen
кто-то
to
из
my
вас может мне
lecture,
дать совет.
but someone here can
Если
give
я
me an
действую
example.
как слуга,
If I act as a
как
servant,
уполномоченный от своего наставника человек,
as
я приму совет.
the one
А если я
authorized by
читаю
my
лекцию от
senior,
себя, я буду
I will
спорить.
accept this advice.
Понимаете
And
разницу
if
или нет?
not, I will argue
Что
with you.
агрессия
You see
сама
the
в сердце
difference?
возникает
Aggression
просто
in
потому,
the
что
heart
есть тень
comes
эгоизма. Быть
because
старшим
there
это
is
тоже эгоизм.
egoism. Being
Но если
a
я
senior
просто
is
слуга
also
и хочу
egoistic,
сделать вас
but if
счастливыми,
I am a
если
servant
кто-то
and
мне
I want to make you
возражает,
happy,
я не буду в
if
этом случае
someone
как-то возбуждаться,
contradicts me,
приходить
I
в
will not
состояние
get
напряжения.
agitated.
Таким образом, счастье — это всегда понятие,
So
которое связано
happiness is
с наградой,
always
а не
about
с тем,
praise and
что
not
ты можешь его как-то схватить.
about
Часто
running
люди,
after it.
они хотят в жизни
People
счастья.
often
Это
want
полное безумие.
happiness in their lives, but that is crazy.
Хотеть счастье — это полное безумие.
It is
Потому
madness
что на
to
самом
want
деле
happiness because
счастье — это всегда
actually
то, что
happiness
приходит
is
независимо
always
от нас,
something
и это
that comes
божественная энергия, и
independently
она
of
не
us.
подчиняется
That is
нашей
divine
воле.
energy
Счастье
and
всегда
it
приходит
is
как
not
награда
under
за
our
то, что ты
control.
сделал раньше
Happiness
хорошего,
is
или
the
то,
praise
что ты
that
делаешь
comes from
хорошего
your
сейчас.
past good deeds or present.
Если ты просто
If you just
вошел в
feel
состояние счастья по
happy
жизни, значит,
in
ты
your
раньше
life,
что-то хорошего
that
делал.
means that you did something
Допустим, все
good in your
говорят, ну,
past.
как у тебя дела?
For example, everyone asks you, how are you doing? I'm okay. And you? Okay. That means you have a good period in life.
Но этот период может
But
уйти и
this
стать
period
плохим.
may
Хорошие периоды
turn
меняются на
into
плохие.
bad.
Это значит,
These
что мы
are
раньше еще
waves.
что-то и плохое
That
в
means
жизни
that we
делали.
also
На
did
это в
something
жизни
bad in our
рассчитывать не надо.
past.
Большинство людей
You should
просто
not
хотят,
count on
чтобы
it in
жизнь
your
была
life.
хорошей,
Mostly
чтобы
people
всё
just
было
want to
хорошо.
have
Хорошо
good life.
означает нет страданий.
And that means no
Это
suffering.
безумие.
That is madness.
В этом случае человек
In this case,
просто
the person
съедает то счастье,
simply
которое он заслужил с прошлого, и
spends
все,
the
ничего нового
happiness
он не
he
создает.
deserved in his past
В
life
этом
and creates
настроении
nothing
я хочу,
more.
чтобы у меня все было хорошо, жизнь
Living in
безумие.
this mood, wishing everything was
Человек
well,
должен
is
трудиться для своей
madness.
судьбы.
The person
Надо
must
рано
work
утром
hard for
вставать с
his
постели,
fate. You
потому
must
что
get out
утреннее
of
время
bed
это время
early in the
благости, это
morning,
время счастья.
because morning
Дневное
is the
время это
time
время
of
труда,
goodness
время
and
страсти,
happiness.
вечернее время это время
Daytime
невежества,
is passion,
время, в которое
it is
как
meant
бы
for
приходит
work,
боль,
and
тоска в сознании и так далее.
evening
Само по
is
себе.
ignorant. We have sorrows
Утреннее время
naturally in the
самое
evening.
важное.
The
И в
morning
основном
is the
люди,
most
которые
important
хотят
time,
расслабиться,
and
хотят
mostly
просто
people who
комфорта, они
want
утром
to
стараются
live
побольше
comfortably do their best to
И
sleep as
цель их
much as
жизни
they can in
поспать
the
побольше.
morning.
Но когда человек
But
побеждает себе
when
эту
the person
идею, его
overcomes
цель
this idea
служить,
in his
тогда
mind
он
and his
становится,
goal is
встает
to serve,
пораньше
then
и
he gets
побеждает
up
себя каждый
earlier
день,
and
потому
he
что счастье возникает
defeats
во время
himself
служения.
every
Вот
day
сегодня
because
приведу вам
happiness
пример.
comes from
Я
service.
встал
Here is
пораньше, хотя
an
лег
example.
попозже.
I
Вчера
got up earlier
не смог
today
вчера
even
лечь
though
пораньше,
I went to
была
bed
лекция.
late because of the
Вот,
lecture
и
and
потом
I also
консультации
gave
еще давал.
consultations afterwards.
И у меня еще
And
в
I
ведическом
also
центре
gave
лекция
a
с утра
lecture
была.
in
У
the
меня
Vedic
было очень
Center
мало
in the
сжатое время на
morning.
молитву.
I had very
Но я
little
все
time
равно
to
встал
pray,
пораньше,
but still I got up
сел,
earlier.
сосредоточился
I
на
sat
своем
down and
духовном учителе,
concentrated on my spiritual master.
начал вспоминать свои отношения с
I
ним,
started
начал
to
молиться.
remember my relationships with him
И в это время
and I prayed.
сначала я чувствовал
First,
трудности,
I
я чувствовал, что мне
felt
тяжело это делать,
hard.
потому
It
что
was difficult for me
как
to
бы
do it
ум
because
хочет расслабиться,
my mind
спать,
wanted to
отдыхать,
relax
он
and
устал,
sleep. It was
ему всё
tired.
трудно. Но я знаю, потому
But
что это
I
делаю
know,
каждый день, что
because
если
I
я
do it
дальше буду
daily,
продолжать в
that
этом
if I
ключе,
go on
то наступит
my
такое
praying,
состояние, в котором
then
я
there
начинаю
will be
чувствовать
the state
чистоту,
in which I feel
радость,
purity,
веру,
happiness,
глубину.
faith, depth.
Я начинаю чувствовать глубокое
I
чистое
start to
отношение к
feel
людям.
deep
Я начинаю
relationships with
чувствовать
people.
победу над своей
I
судьбой,
feel
решаются
victory
вопросы
in my
какие-то в
fate.
сердце.
Some
Начинаешь
problems are
понимать, что делать,
resolved
как
in my
жить.
heart. I know what to do, how to
Это
live.
счастье не зависит от судьбы.
And this happiness is
Каждый человек
independent of
каждый день
fate.
может испытывать
Each person
столько этого
every day
счастья,
can
сколько он
experience
сделал сам
as
в
much of
результате
this
своего
happiness
отношения со
as
святостью.
he
И счастье в
had
данном
relationships
случае
with holiness.
означает просто
And in this
награда.
case,
И другого
happiness
счастья
is
в жизни
praise,
нет.
and there is no other happiness.
Допустим, девушка говорит,
For example,
думает, мечтает,
a
я
girl
хочу
dreams,
хорошего мужа
I
себе.
want to have a nice husband.
Это означает, что будешь страдать.
That means she will suffer.
Потому что хороший муж — это
Because
награда.
the good husband is a
Чего бы ты ни
praise.
хотела,
No
что
matter
положено,
what
то
you
и
want, you
получишь.
will get what you deserve.
Но если
But
девушка не
if
думает
the
о том,
girl
что она
does not
хочет хорошего
think
мужа,
about
а она
having
выполняет свою
the good
природу,
husband, but
женская
she
природа — это служить
works
энергией
according
любви,
to her
она
nature,
заботится о
she
маме,
serves
о
to the
папе,
nature
о
of love, she
друзьях,
takes care
всем,
about her
готовит
parents and
пирожки,
friends,
кормит всех,
she
любит
cooks
всех,
pastry,
гладит по
she
головке,
loves
то есть
everyone,
прощает, просит прощения.
she forgives
В
and
полной
asks for
степени живет как
forgiveness.
женщина,
She
активно
lives
очень.
as a woman
Потому что женская
fully, very
природа в
actively,
пассивном состоянии, в
because in a
состоянии
passive
эгоизма,
state of
хочет любви,
egoism,
ласки и
a
внимания.
female nature wants care,
Хочет
love and attention,
того, чего ей не
the things
положено.
it did not deserve.
А в активном
And in
состоянии
the active
женская
state, the
природа, она
female
ничего не
nature
хочет, она просто
wants
служит
nothing.
другим
It
и
just
получает
serves
в
to
ответ
everyone
любовь,
and
ласку и
receives
внимание как
love,
результат
care,
служения.
and attention as a
Поэтому
praise.
счастье, любое женское,
So
мужское, это
any
просто
happiness,
награда.
male or
И основная
female, is
ошибка
the
людей
praise, and
заключается в
the
том, что они
basic
награды
reason of
хотят
people is that they
как
want
само собой разумеющееся.
praise
И вот этот
as if
вопрос,
it is
как вас
granted.
зовут?
What is your name?
Сергей. Он
Sergey.
очень мудрый.
He's
Это
very
очень мудрый
wise.
вопрос.
This question is
Потому
very
что этот
wise
вопрос
because
указывает на суть
it
жизни всех отношений.
indicates of
Если
the
человек
essence of life
Но
and
самое
all
главное, надо
relationships.
понять, вот я чуть-чуть
But
отвлекся, допустим, спать
You must
лег,
understand.
проснулся,
For example, I
нет в
got
моем
distracted.
сердце желания
I went
служить.
to
Каждый
sleep, I
день
woke
одно и
up,
то
and
же.
I have no
Много
desire
лет
to
и всю
serve.
жизнь так
It
будет.
is all the
Потому
same
что в нашей
for your
жизни
whole life.
ложное эго
Because
доминирует.
in our life,
Эгоизм,
false
желание
ego
счастья себе
dominates.
доминирует. Его всегда,
Desire
каждый
for
день надо
happiness to
побеждать.
yourself
Каждый день
is
всю жизнь.
always on top, and you must
Каждый день,
defeat
поэтому
it
человек
every
каждый день
day.
должен вставать рано утром,
The person must
обливаться
get up
прохладной водой,
early
снимать с себя
every day,
сон,
take cold
садиться
shower,
неподвижно молиться,
sit still and pray.
искать свою веру. Если не
Search for
молиться, то
his
искать
fate.
свою веру.
If you do not pray,
Вот
then
что
search
вы
for your
чувствуете,
fate.
считаете духовностью, то и делайте. Если
Do
считаете
whatever you
желать
think is
всем счастья,
spiritual.
желать
If
всем
you
счастья. Если
like
считаете
wishing
слушать
happiness,
духовную
do
музыку,
it. If
слушайте
you
с
like
утра
to
духовную
listen to
музыку.
the spiritual
Если
music, do it
понимаете,
in the
что
morning.
молитва сама по
If
себе,
you
сила
know
молитвы — это
that
самый высокий
prayer
способ
is the
развития личности. Если у вас есть
most
такие силы,
advanced
делайте
way
это.
to
Но если
develop your
человек просто инертно
personality,
живет, желая
self-improve,
счастья,
do
когда он
it.
ждет счастья,
But
это
if
жизнь
a person
патовая,
lives
в ней нет выхода.
inactively, just waiting for happiness, that
Я
situation
просто жду,
is
когда придет счастье.
hopeless. I just expect
Выхода нет.
happiness. There is no way
Всё.
out. That is it.
Я ответил на ваш вопрос?
Did I answer your question?
Да, да, конечно.
Please
Давайте
ask your
покорректируем.
question.
Да.
I got confused with passion.
Я тоже.
Me
Давайте
too.
распутывать.
This is very important to me because I teach dancing, and besides controlling my body, I also help women to feel sexy, passion and sexual energy, so that I did not misconcept. Are these different things? I feel that passion is untamed energy.
А вы можете ей управлять?
Can you control it? When you understand the matters, I can.
Спасибо вам за вопрос.
Thank you very much for your
Вы
question.
делаете хорошее дело.
You
Вы по
do
природе
something
заняты
good.
преподаванием танца.
You've
Правильно, это
engaged
хорошее
your
дело.
nature in teaching, and women should be beautiful. But you must develop in your heart, deep in your heart, understanding of beauty. There are two types of beauty. The first is destructive for a woman's life, and the second makes her happy. To be correct, both types give happiness to a woman if they are used right. There are two types of beauty or energy of love. The first is the higher female beginning. That is beauty. It has these properties. This higher beauty is present in each woman as modesty. Modesty, timidity is beauty. It makes a face beautiful. Also, it is chastity. A chaste woman is very beautiful. Another property is purity, being tidy and clean. That is also higher beauty. And also the woman becomes shy, she covers her body. The higher female beginning gives gentleness, tidiness, kindness. Please listen, do not talk. There is also lower beauty, and their egoism is very powerful, and the woman should hide egoism from everyone but her very closest person, and the woman must only demonstrate the lowest energies to her husband. There also are some energies for children, like warmness. There is also much egoism there. There are energies for children, for parents. The woman has the energy of love, and she must study carefully how to use this energy for her own good. But there is one type of energy, that is the energy of a female body. And it is extremely powerful egoism that destroys everyone's life around, not just of the woman herself. Everyone needs this energy of female egoism, especially if she is beautiful. Both men and women need this energy, parents and everyone. Even the lowest aspect of female beauty is very attractive and necessary. But if the woman voluntarily gives this energy to anyone, she destroys her life. Here is how it happens. When a woman exposes intimate parts of her body, even a little bit, and these are legs, breasts, when they are just a little exposed for everyone, this leads to the necessity. This energy is extremely magnetic and strong, and it awakens in man desire to enjoy it and to depend on it. It is pleasant for a woman to be dependent on. She feels her influence, and she knows she is strong, she can affect situations, but on the other hand, she must understand that this lower female beginning, the sexual energy of a female body, is meant to preserve family. This energy is meant for a husband to be next to his wife and not someone else. This energy has its limitations. If a woman demonstrates her legs and some other intimate parts for everyone, she wastes this energy, men consume it, and when the woman comes back home, she does not have that much strength for the husband to very love her. Her ability to affect her husband gets weaker. And it is interesting that in our culture it is all upside down. In ancient culture, all the scriptures say about it that a woman must put makeup and dress very beautifully and intimately at home next to her husband. And she must be dressed more modestly outside. In our culture, it is upside down. A woman dresses up to go out, but at home she looks very simple and she has no makeup. When there is an interesting question, then who is attracted with her? Her husband or some man outside? Because she attracts there where she shows herself. That is why there are 80% of divorces in our country. It is also about relationships. It's important. There are different types of dancing. There are dances that give a woman spiritual energy and power. My wife also dances Odissi. This is temple dancing in India. Firstly, the whole body is covered. The dress is very beautiful, there is even a crown. And in this dance, she becomes very noble, graceful, unreachable, glorious, very refined, but unreachable. Unreachable. And other dances, when a woman highlights her intimate parts of the body, and with this dance she arouses intimate feelings in men, that is good if it is in front of the husband. In ancient culture in India, there were these dances and women were taught them. Just imagine the wife dances like that for her husband. He will be crazy about her. That is very attractive. But no one else can see it. For example, some friends. I hope that you are not disappointed. We are undereducated in these matters. You should think over what I've told you. You work according to your calling. All women must do two things. Firstly, they must learn to dance and sing. If they do it, they become powerful and developed, and it gives them more opportunity to live. At any age, singing and dancing, every woman must do it. You do a very important job. Study how to do it right. Please tell about family business. A husband is a manager and a wife an employee, an executive. Family business, on the one hand, it is easier because you can trust. For example, you are an accountant. If a woman is an accountant, a wife, then everything is fine. If there is a shortage, then it was spent on diapers. The wife is a technician at production. You must understand that each man needs energy of love, intimate energy of love from a woman, or the energy of love from God. But without love, the man vanishes. Monks receive love from God, those who live in monasteries, and family men must feel love from their wives. If you have business relationships, is there love? I think so. I think yes. You are mistaken. Well, I understood it in this lecture. If you have love in business relationships, you will argue right in front of all your employees. You will argue, everyone will be surprised, and your husband will not respect you. Your relationships at work must be perfectly businesslike. You should not even tell compliments to each other. People should not even guess you are a husband and wife. And your capacity to build business relationships must be limited to the workplace. Once you enter your home, work is over, no discussions. You are a husband and wife, a family. If there is need, you can find a place in your apartment where you discuss work. But once you are out, no more work. And you must make sure that it is so, because if you don't, your husband will surely find himself a lover. A man cannot live without female care and love, because there are family relationships close that each person needs since childhood. A baby sucks his mother's milk, he feels warmth of his mother's body. Each person needs intimacy, and it comes from the female beginning. And if the woman does not perform her duties, she does not give warmth, and only has business relationships with the husband, her family is destructed undoubtedly. He will love you, value and respect you as an employee, but he will get himself a lover. It is clear, thank you. We've already discussed the topic of working and family relationships. And what about those who have already divorced? What should we do if there is no one? People in the mode of ignorance cannot give their energy to others. They are locked in their egoism, and they can only build relationships as sexual relationships or ambitions. For example, ignorant people also have some association where they humiliate people, or they get humiliated if there is someone stronger. Ignorant people also have sexual relationships. They have someone for sex. And as for children, there is also just relationships of superiority. Do as I say, go there. Or, you are a nice boy, I love you. Relationships of superiority and enjoyment. That is all ignorant people have. No other happiness in life. That is a very poor and miserable life. Passionate people also have no close relationships or love, because passionate people just want to have wealth and comfort at home. That is the reason they live together, for money, for work, for a nice fridge. And all their life is focused on wealth. If you observe a beaver in the water, all day he constructs his dam. Dawn to dusk he just builds. And similarly, passionate people, they just sustain their life all day, and they dream about future. Ignorant people live in their past. It is even obvious in their songs. There are memories and sorrow about past. There's a white swan on the lake, and I'm going to take you there. There is sorrow in these songs for ignorant people. I will soon come back to you. There is sorrow in these melodies. Passionate people expect happiness in the future, they believe in it. The bird of my future happiness, please come to me and pick me, the bird of tomorrow's happiness. This is what passionate people have.
Людей в благости, счастье в
And
настоящем находится. Они живут
goodness people
отношениями
have
молитвой.
happiness in
То есть они
presence.
прорывают вот эту
They live
завесу
with relationships
веры,
and
веры
prayer.
будущего и скорби в
They
прошлом. Они просто
break
сейчас
through
служат друг другу,
future
заботятся
and
друг о
past.
друге,
They
поэтому
just
испытывают
serve each
счастье
other
прямо
in the
сейчас.
moment, and
Вот если
they
я
are
прямо
happy
сейчас
right now.
открою ваши сердца,
If I open
сделаю
your
вам
hearts
приятное,
right now and I
сделаю
do
так, чтобы
something
вы
good for
почувствовали
you,
счастье, тогда
if
я
I
буду
make you feel
полностью
happy,
удовлетворен
then
прямо
I am
сейчас. И это цель моей
completely
жизни.
satisfied
Это
right now,
точно,
and that
четко
is the
осознаю.
goal of my life. I am acutely
Вот прямо
aware of
сейчас
it.
цель моя в этом
This is my
заключается.
goal right now.
И поэтому для того, чтобы
And
понять,
for a lonely
вести себя
woman to
женщине,
understand how to
одинокой,
behave,
надо понять, где она
she must
находится.
understand
Благость,
where she
страсти,
is,
невежестве.
in which
Потому
mode,
что благостная
goodness,
женщина не бывает
passionate,
одинокой
or
вообще
ignorant.
никогда.
Because a goodness woman is
Страсти,
never
хоть
lonely.
одинокая, хоть не одинокая, она
In
все равно
passion, a
одинокая.
woman is
Страсти,
lonely
вот человек
whether
жил
she
в
has
семье,
someone
он мог
or
сердце
not.
открыть. Он мог
Passionate
поделиться.
people cannot open their hearts in family life. They just enjoy each other. There is a psychologist, Alyoshina. She calculated that for 7 to 9 years, people like each other in family, and it fades away gradually. But then there comes the time when spouses consider divorce, and unless they start to serve each other, they break up. So either the two break up earlier, once there is less liking, or they get to a very bad point together, and then they consider what to do next. If they start to serve each other and do not expect enjoyment, then they go back up in their relationships. Do you want to enjoy your life, or you want to experience service and love? Ask yourself, what do you want? No one can always enjoy life. Sometimes there is enjoyment, sometimes not. There are waves. There are good periods you enjoy. There are bad periods you suffer. There are waves. What do you want? If you want to serve and to live in the mode of goodness, then there is no loneliness for a woman. She serves to her friends, she takes care about them, she serves her parents, some dog in the street, she makes pies for her neighbor, an old lady, she helps her to wash and clean. Such woman is constantly happy. She has no sorrows or loneliness. Loneliness means you have no one to serve you, but in our society everyone needs female energy, so that is virtually impossible. There are no men and women in our society. There are just robots left who go to work and then watch TV at home. I go out and look at the village. Young women are walking and I feel fine. Where do women walk? Where is it joyful? All women drive cars. No one walks. No relationships. No purity and warmth. I came to San Francisco to give lectures. I walked out in the street and it was terrible. No one there at all. I wanted to get acquainted with the Americans, and they all were inside cars. And how do you get acquainted? On the internet. No relationships. Because the more there is passion in the society, the more business relationships and less close relationships, less female energy. What is real culture? All neighbors are close people. We take care about our neighbors, we serve them. All the birds are also
Женщина такую
close to
атмосферу
us,
создает, родственности,
and
близости,
women create this
теплоты.
atmosphere
Весь
of
подъезд наш.
kindredness,
Мы его любим.
of
Цветочки
love.
рассадили.
We love all our
Не подъезд, в
neighbors,
котором
we plant
пестись.
flowers.
Вот если
If there is
женщина, есть
just
хотя бы
one
одна
woman
женщина,
that takes
которая
care
любит
about
подъезд,
the
она там цветочки
staircase,
рассадила,
she
помыла,
plants
там
flowers,
пестись
she
никто не
washes
сделает,
there,
потому что будет
then
стыдно.
no one will
Но когда
litter
женская энергия
because they will
любви
be
есть, у
ashamed.
людей появляется
When there is
совесть.
female
Представь,
energy
подъезд,
of love,
цветочки растут,
people
там всё
have
красиво,
conscience.
и ты пестись хочешь,
Imagine
чтобы
it
было
is also nice in your stairs,
тяжело.
and you
А
cannot
если
really
подъезд, в
litter.
котором пустота и
But
как бы
if the stairs
грязь,
is
нет проблем, можно
empty
и пестись
and there
сделать.
is dirt, then no problem, you can
Теперь
throw
второй
some
вариант.
garbage.
Двор заходит, подъезд,
Then
где всё
imagine a
чисто,
thief
цветочки
enters
растут.
the
Будет он там воровать,
staircase
нет?
where everything is nice. Will he
Нет,
steal
потому
there?
что опасно.
No, because it's
Там энергия
dangerous.
любви,
There
люди
is
друг друга
energy of
знают,
love,
все
people
знакомые.
know each
Кто-то
other.
услышал шорох,
Someone
тут же позвонил
hears
в
some
милицию.
noise and he will call the
Второй вариант.
police.
В подъезде
The second
шаром
option,
покати,
the staircase
как бы всё,
is
грязь.
dirty.
Пожалуйста, вскрывай, там
Then
нет
all
проблем, никто не
thieves
обратит
are
внимания.
welcome. No one will even pay attention.
Нет женской энергии в обществе, не хватает
There is
женской энергии.
a
нет
lack of
заботы.
female energy in the
Собаки
society.
ободранные бегают
There is
по
no
улице.
care.
Нет заботы,
Dogs are
понимаете,
hungry in
птички
the streets,
голодные.
and also birds.
Но вы говорите,
And
как
you
одинокой женщине любить.
ask how a lonely
Знаете,
woman
сколько
can love.
потребностей вашей любви в этом
Do
обществе
you
есть?
know
И вы
that your
просто
love
даже
is so
не
required,
продохнете,
and
если
you
вы
will
начнете
not
жить
have
в
a
радости,
spare
служить всем,
minute
а не
if you
мечтать о
live in
муже?
the mode of goodness
Русская
instead of
сказка меня снедает,
dreaming
жена
about a
ключи
husband?
отдает. Не надо об этом думать.
You should not think about it.
Не надо думать о своем будущем
You should
счастье.
not think
Это
about
страсть.
your future happiness,
Оно
that is
никогда не
passion.
придет. Потому что в
It
это
will
время,
never
когда вы
come,
мечтаете о
because
муже,
when you
вы
dream
расходуете
about
свою
the
энергию
husband,
замужества.
you waste your
Вы мечтаете
energy
об этом
of
такой.
marriage.
То есть то, что должно быть у вас
You
когда-нибудь, оно
waste
уже
that you
кончается
are
в это
supposed to
время.
have in
Потому что
the
в этом
future,
мечте вы проживаете
because
жизнь.
you live in your dream.
Понятно система?
Is that clear?
Видите, цель человека
The goal of a person is not to try enjoy what he has, but to endeavor to get from ignorance to passion. When the person is secluded and he is in sorrow, he lives in his dreams or hatred. He has no forgiveness, he feels sad and miserable. That means that he must achieve success in his life. First, it's passion. He must forgive, he must start to work instead of dreaming. He must learn some profession, he must be useful to people. He must become a part of society. Once the person is active, he feels like a real person. He can move to spiritual life. Try to understand that you need faith, you must pray, wish everyone happiness, you must learn to have deep relationships, you must find friends, and in the end, a mentor who will open your eyes to this world. And then life is in full blossom. But when the person just dreams and he looks for happiness in the wrong places, for example, he wants close relationships at work, he opens his heart where there are passion and ignorance, he does not follow place, time and circumstances rule, then he will surely suffer. So, knowledge is the most important acquisition in one's life. Knowledge is what saves our life. It is of utmost importance, not the knowledge of how many scales there are on a snake's body, but knowledge of life, how to live right. There are rules and laws, and they were not created by the state. There are state laws, they are also necessary, but there are laws from the scriptures and they are created by God. They always work and you cannot avoid them. More questions about work relationships?
Я извиняюсь, что я так
I'm
немножко
sorry for
специфически
being so
разошелся.
expressive.
Сейчас буду
I will speak softer on, I hope. I come here from the north for your lecture specifically. I come here,
А сколько
is it
километров?
far?
Ого.
1500 kilometers. But it is not so much for Siberia. The question is, I have my business and
Ну хорошо.
the team consists of women. According to your lectures, I manage strictly but with love.
Расписали
Did
всем
you write all
инструкцию.
instructions? Yes, I have all instructions. There is discipline and no one is resentful when
Так.
punished.
Это мне вам вопрос
That
надо
is
задавать,
super.
не вам.
I am the one who should be asking you questions. I make celebrations at work. We have trainings for women. It is all great. But the question is, how can I overcome their inner arguments? Young women work for me and they argue. I cannot even understand when they have time for it. We have a lot of clients, but still my employees, they argue, then they won't talk to each other, and that hinders work. How can I reconcile them?
Научитесь другому.
You must learn something different, to be a mother.
Смотрите, все очень просто.
It is very
Вот,
easy.
допустим, у вас несколько детей.
For example, you have a few children, 3 or 4 of about same age. How do you think? Will they argue and fight from time to time? Can you make so that they don't? It's impossible, because they are children. They have this tendency to argue and fight, and who the mother is, it is the one who allows them to do it. You should sit them down and say, "My dear ones, you had a fight. That's okay. Let's make peace." Be the mother. Treat them as your minors. The problem is that there are no seniors in our society. There are no mothers and fathers. A mother is the one who allows the person to make foolish things. There can be a mother who is not a mother. If she does not allow her child to be more stupid than her, then she is not the mother. The child is more stupid, you must allow it. If girls fight, that is their nature. They are very sensitive and they have authority. Just imagine it. There will be some problems, some quarrels. Take it calmly. Know that there will be quarrels and it is bad for work. You should plan accordingly, but that is inevitable. You can never fully overcome it. There are women at work, there will be quarrels. They try their authority on each other. They are envious of each other. If a man marries and he hopes that she will not be resentful, that is crazy. He should come to his right mind. When a woman gets acquainted and dates, she is so obedient and so nice, she is gentle and kind, but once family life starts, she is completely different. She is resentful, she quarrels, she insists on her own, she demands. That's female nature. That's okay. And women think, how can I live with it? It all comes out of me. I'm resentful.
Никак.
There is nothing to do. Just live normally, that is your nature.
Ничего страшного.
It's okay.
Мужчина тоже должен так спокойно к этому относиться.
And man should also take it lightly.
Женщина должна быть женщиной, матерью.
A woman must be a woman, a mother, and a father. We must learn to understand these things. These are not roles, these are realizations. We must be aware. If you don't acknowledge yourself as the senior, you won't be able to understand these girls. Love means allowing them to quarrel. Get them seated, pat them on their heads, and tell them it is all going to be fine, and send them to work. For example, two girls had a fight and they came to you to sort things out between themselves. My advice is, listen to them and say nothing. Just listen to both of them, smile, and once they are done, give them something tasty and send them back to work. And the quarrel will be over, I guarantee it. There is no need for explanations, just give them love. The main reason of quarrels is lack of love. There is no other reason. And when a person receives enough love, he calms down, and problems do not bother him. More questions? Describe your situation and we will give solution. I have a similar situation. I am a manager. I have 12 female employees and 2 male. And we build relationships based on love. And this year there was a party and 3 or 4 girls did not come. And I was offended. You know why? Because you made this mistake. Close relationships at work. You search for love in the wrong place. Do you have a family? No husband. And that is the problem. You must search spiritual association. You must find environment where you can open your heart, take care of people. Of course, you can take care of girls on your team, but know that they want to use you and always will. You are just the source of money for living. And this being like a mother, yes, you can express maternal feelings. Some of them will respond to you, they will respect you back and feel like your daughters, but some won't, and you cannot help it. Those who won't are a bit dumber, they are spiritually undeveloped. This is the way you should see them. Do not fire them or hate them. Just know that that is their level. They do not understand what is party for everyone. They have been working with me for 8 years. That means that they are afraid of you no longer. They have familiar relationships. You crossed the boundaries, you got too close. That is the problem of the manager in female collective. When you allow your employees approach you, they will get relaxed. Everyone else came to your birthday party not because they are happy for you, but because they are scared of you. You were happy to have a birthday party. And also some people who are your comrades at work, but everyone else are more fearful than happy for you. How can I get them back on the earth?
Вас как вернуть с небесной
Who should come back on the earth?
земли? Нет, иметь
No,
вернуть с
you
небесной
are
земли
the
надо вас.
one who should get your feet back on
Потому
the
что
earth,
вы
because
ищете близких отношений не
you
там, где их
search
надо
for
искать.
close relationships in the wrong place, and so you suffer.
Желайте счастья этим
Wish
людям,
happiness to
заботьтесь
these
о них
people, take care
по-матерински,
about
но не
them
ищите от них
like a mother,
взаимности.
but do
Когда
not
люди вместе
expect
работают, в этой среде нет
reciprocity.
взаимности.
When
Вот у меня
people work
благостный
together,
коллектив.
there
Люди
is no
молятся с
reciprocity.
совестью.
My
Очень
team is in the
возвышенные
mode
люди, у меня
of
очень
goodness,
возвышенный
everyone
коллектив.
prays,
Но на
they are
работе
very
мы не ищем с
exalted,
ними взаимности.
but at
Если
work
человеку
there
нужно
is no
платить зарплату, мы им
reciprocity.
платим зарплату. Если
If a
он
person
чувствует,
needs
что он
salary,
переработал,
we paid
обижен, мы его
it. If he
успокаиваем,
feels
ему
he
даем отдых.
overworked, we let him
Там нет
rest.
такого на работе, что ты вот
At
брат,
work
ты
there
же
is
духовный.
nothing like, my brother, we have spiritual
Но
relationships.
когда мы собираемся
But when
вместе
we gather
на праздник,
together
у нас
for
нет деловых отношений.
celebrations,
Мы любим друг друга,
there are
дружим
no
друг с другом, всё,
business
у нас другие
relationships.
отношения
We are
совсем.
friends
Там на празднике, но
there
на работе опять
at
деловые.
our parties, but at work it is back to business.
Так,
I am quite demanding, I have all rules written,
так.
but just one person turned his back on me and others followed. And I feel it happened about 2 years ago.
А вот это происходит вот почему.
This is why it happened.
Потому что вы не понимаете,
You
что
do not
в
understand
каждом
that
коллективе должен
in
быть
each
идеолог.
collective there
Нужно
must
проводить
be
с ними
an
нравственные
ideologist.
беседы. Вот помните, как
You
при
should
коммунистах
have
был
moral
политрук
conversations.
Клочков, да?
Remember
Политруки
the
были,
communist
и были
times?
еще руководители,
There were
да?
political leaders,
Политруки создавали идейную
and
атмосферу в коллективе.
there
Цель
were
какая-то должна
ideas
быть на работе
given,
общая,
common
общее
goals,
видение, общее
common
понимание
vision,
этикета отношений. Есть
understanding
старшие, есть
of
младшие, мы всё это
relationships. There
изучаем,
were
и
seniors
идеолог,
and
есть
minors,
у него эта должность
and
или
the
нет, он собирает
ideologist
людей
gathered
и проводит
everyone
такие
together
занятия. Пускай он
and
называется
gave
как
classes.
специалистом по кадрам или
You
по
can call
отношениям,
him
не имеет
an
значения.
HR manager or
Но
work
если такого
relationships
человека нет,
manager.
тогда, несомненно,
But if
появится
there is
идеолог,
no
который
such
будет
person,
создавать
there will be
другой
another
коллектив,
ideologist
другую
who will
атмосферу.
create some
Теперь
other
мне вам
atmosphere.
совет.
Here
Мой вам
is my
совет.
advice.
Если в коллективе появился
If
идеолог,
there is
который
an
настраивает
ideologist
людей
at your
против
work
вас,
who
то
turns
вам не
people
надо
against you,
здесь проявлять
you should
терпение,
not be
сострадание,
patient or
смирение.
compassionate
Просто
or humble.
увольте этого
Just
человека с
fire
работы.
that person. She is quitting herself. Well, let her.
Дайте ей еще
And,
денежек на дорогу.
Also give her
Позаботьтесь,
some
чтобы она
money,
уволилась быстрее.
good riddance,
Позаботьтесь
make
об
her
этом.
quit quicker,
Потому что идеолог, он может или
because
создать
the
атмосферу
ideologist
счастья в
can
коллективе, или
either
полностью его
create
уничтожить. Это
happiness
самый
or
опасный
destroy it
человек или
completely.
самый важный
That
человек.
is either the
Вы
most
должны
important
задуматься о том, что в
or
вашем
the most
коллективе должен
dangerous
быть свой
person.
идеолог.
But you
Это
must
уже
have
немножко
an
не тема
ideologist
отношений,
of your
другая
own.
тема, тема
This is
структуры
not about
коллектива.
relationships,
Я
it is
руководителям
about
это объясняю всем.
work
Обязательно
team
должен быть
structure.
человек, который
But
обучает людей
there
общаться
must
друг
be
с
the
другом
person
и
who
отношения строить.
teaches everyone to build
Если этого
relationships
нет,
at
то,
work.
значит, коллектив,
If
появляется
there
человек,
is no
который
one,
свое мнение
then
рассказывает
there
об
comes
отношениях.
someone who has his opinion.
В этом главная проблема, а не в том,
That
что
is
они на
the
праздник не
main
пришли. Ведь правда?
problem, and not that they did not come to your
На
party.
праздник не пришли, надо простить. Женщины
Forgive
могут
them
не прийти
for
на праздник
that.
по многим причинам.
There are many
Например, у
reasons
женщины
for women
психика
not to
волнами
come
идет.
to parties. For
У
example,
женщин никогда настроение не стоит
female
на месте. И бывает
psyche
такой
is
пик у
always
женщины в жизни,
moving,
когда она
and
вообще никуда
sometimes
идти не хочет.
there is a
Она
moment
просто хочет дома
when
сидеть
a
и
woman
отдыхать.
wants to go nowhere. She just
И
stays at
если
home and
женщина
has
куда-то
rest.
не пришла, не надо
And
сильно на это обращать внимание.
you should not pay
Это
much
означает, что у нее
attention
как
to
раз
it.
такой
That
период в
means
жизни.
there is that bad moment.
Понятно, да? Это чисто физиологически
It
происходит.
is purely physiological.
Также надо понять, что
You should also understand that
иногда люди ближе ко мне,
sometimes
иногда
people
дальше.
are closer to
И
you,
поэтому
sometimes
они
farther,
не могут на праздники приходить
and
чисто, потому что им
some
тяжело чисто
cannot come
психологически
to the
находиться.
parties
Тоже
because it
нормально.
is difficult for them
Никогда
mentally.
не бывает, что все были очень близки.
Everyone cannot
Всегда
be
люди
close at
распределяются
work.
таким образом.
People are divided into groups. One person receives all piety, the one who serves everyone, and he is at the top of the whole team, and he is the favorite, and all happiness, all blessings come to him. And also there is a person who is most unsatisfied. He works worse, and if you fire this one, there will be someone else. It is inevitable. And that person collects all the worst things in the team. There are people like that at work. It's inevitable. You cannot help it. You should just accept it. But the major mistake that I saw, but you do not accept it, although I've repeated it a number of times, the major mistake is that you search happiness in spirituality there where there are no. Remember, it all depends on the way you build relationships. Here are no business relationships between us. We have relationships of respect and love here. Even if I speak strictly, it's out of love. But if we met not to find the truth and purity, but to earn money, then this motive that unites people does not allow them show purity and spirituality. At work, people must express respect, tolerance, care for each other and other people. You must be a mother to them, you must be strict and punish, you must make rules. It is all called business life. Now remember, you should not expect sincerity, faith, spirituality, purity, selflessness. These are not the things to expect. They are only possible in pure spiritual relationships, which means we go to the temple together, we go to the lectures, we attend spiritual festivals, we go on pilgrimages, we gather together somewhere, and we discuss some moral topics. That is completely different. When people live in passion, they have no idea that such life is possible. And this life is the most important. It is search for God. Most happiness comes from there. There is more faith and purity. Some search for spiritual relationships in their family, but the family must be developed. If you cannot find it there, your family falls apart. My spouse does not understand this, but you must come together to this, and it takes years. Or we search spiritual relationships at work, and there are also disappointments because motives are completely different. You can place spirituality there. If you are the senior, you can create this atmosphere, but for your employees it will be only a game to get salary. Why doing it artificially? Take care of your employees and know that your relationships are limited by the motive, and these limits cannot be crossed, and that is your mistake. You want warmness and closeness where there is no. If you want personal relationships, learn to have friends. A woman must surely have girlfriends with whom she speaks on the phone. Otherwise, she isn't happy. A woman gives strength to her husband and children. She does not take it from them, but she gains strength from speaking to her parents, friends, and also she can gain strength from some pets, which is not so good, because she also gets animal consciousness from that. You become like the ones you associate with. The woman must restore her strength from relationships with girlfriends and parents and other relatives. Is that clear? And you cannot gain strength from your husband. If you want your husband to give you strength, he will take it away from you. Husband is your object of service. Find girlfriends, find spiritually developed people. I talk too much, I'm sorry. You see, I sometimes cannot stop speaking. I have an assistant, a very wise young man who studied from me. Now he reads lectures and he is loved by everyone. His name is Evgeny Koinov. If you come to his lecture, you won't regret it. There are lectures in September, Prayer as Awakening. Please come to his lecture. He is very wise. The next question on relationships at work. Hello. I am very resentful with my manager. It's a young man, under 30. Does he smile to you? He smiles at all of us. Relationships in the mode of passion. He makes a beautiful American smile. How are you doing? How was your weekend? And all subordinates are young women. He settled nicely. What offends me? There is much work. He is highly qualified and good working, and if he does something himself, he does it very fast, and he gets results, and he demands the same of us. But we cannot. We have to stay late. No one makes us, but there is really very much work. What is your specialty? I am an economist. I advise you to find another job with less money. There is a choice before you. Either you live like this and you will get used to it. That is passionate environment. You are exhausted, you have to work more. There is a smile externally, but you really work hard. It's not the problem of your manager. It is the style of life that he chose for himself. I thought about changing job, but I do not have the guts yet. But this is my situation for now. What offends us? Not that we have to stay long, but for us it feels like he just controls. He does nothing himself and he does not stay long. He just walks around and waits for a result. This is passionate environment. What did you expect? That means business relationships. You need results and you do not care about their lives. You want goodness. Well, not goodness, but it is really hard like that. He cannot do differently. He thinks differently. There is no way out. You cannot change it. You cannot change the situation. It is in the mode of passion. Hearts are stone-like there. It is all about profit, But you believe in something different and you are wrong.
Верите в то, чего нет.
You believe in
Поэтому
something that does not exist and you suffer.
Нет. И если вы
And
попадете в
if
другой
you
коллектив
get
с целью
another
заработать
job
побольше
wanting
денег,
to earn more
есть
money,
две цели.
there are two goals
Одна благостная,
in work.
другая страстная.
One is goodness and
Человек
another is
попадает
passionate.
туда, какие у
And
него
the
цели.
person
Если цель
gets
деньги,
the
то
job
попадаете
depending
в
on his
страстный
goal.
коллектив. Если
If
деньги
it's
стоят на
money,
втором месте,
then
а
it's
отношения на
passionate
первом,
environment.
тогда вы
But
попадаете
if
в благостный.
relationships come
Деньги
first,
стоят на втором
then
месте, когда
you
вы
get
понимаете
goodness
ценность жизни,
environment.
что для вас более
You
ценно не
must
иметь деньги, а
understand
иметь
what
отношения.
is more
Это значит,
valuable
что
in
у
your
вас и
life,
самой
not
благостный
money,
характер.
but
Страстный
relationships.
характер
In this
означает,
case,
деньги важнее,
you
чем
are in the
отношения.
mode of
Это
goodness.
значит, что вы попадаете в деловой
But if
коллектив,
you
вас
want
там
money,
будут эксплуатировать.
you get more business relationships and you will be exploited. Thank you.
Спасибо вам.
Thank
Я
you.
вам еще кое-что
There is
скажу.
one more
Это
thing.
важно.
It's
Даже
important.
если вы все-таки
Even if you are affected with desire for money and
это
wealth,
нормально.
it's normal.
Это просто ваши
It is
возможности
just
внутренние,
your
ваше развитие. Я
inner
вам дам один
possibilities,
рецепт, который
your
вам поможет.
development, but there is one recipe to
Примите
help
такую
you.
жизнь.
First,
Знайте,
accept
что
this
выхода
life.
нет.
Know
И вам
that
станет
there
легче.
is no way
Когда человек
out,
принимает
and you
последствия,
will
ему
feel
легче
better.
становится.
When
Вы
you
должны знать,
accept
что
this
работать
austerity, you
придется
will be
больше, чем
better.
намечено.
You
Всегда,
know that you
пока вы
will
там
have
будете.
to work
Это
more
первое.
than you expect in this situation. And second,
Попытайтесь понять
try to understand
то, что вы женщина. и у
that
вас
you
есть
are
женская
a
сила.
woman and you have female
Например,
power.
если кто-то
For
давит на
example,
вас
if
чувством
someone
долга,
presses you with
или
duty
ответственности,
or
вы можете это
responsibility,
делать.
you can obey, but
Будьте женщиной.
be a woman.
Женщина означает,
It means
что
you
для
press a
нее как
woman
ценность, так и
and then you
служить.
can't.
Не по- она
Naturally,
просто
a
не
woman
имеет
has no
ответственности. Она
responsibility.
строит отношения
She establishes
благодарности
relationships
и
of
любви.
gratitude and love.
У нее нет ответственности, у нее есть
There is no
благодарность и любовь.
responsibility.
Если у вас нет благодарности
But
к этому
if you
человеку
have
сейчас,
no
у вас
gratitude to
пропадает
your boss,
энтузиазм работать.
you
В
have
этом
no
проблема. Вы уже не
enthusiasm
хотите
to
там
work.
работать, у вас
That
нет
is
сил.
the problem. You are tired
Потому что вы хотите строить отношения с
because you
позиции
want to
благодарности и
have
любви.
relationships
Но
of
есть одна
gratitude
тонкая
and
грань,
love.
которую вы не понимаете.
But there is a fine
Если бы вы в
line
этом
that you do
коллективе
not
были
see.
женщиной,
If you behaved
тогда
like
не
a
было бы
woman
никаких
at
проблем.
work, there
Например,
would have
он
been no
говорит,
problems.
«Сделай
For
побольше
example,
работы».
he
Вот это
asks you
сделай.
to do
Вы
more
говорите,
work,
«Хорошо,
and you
как
respond,
смогу».
okay, I'll do what I
Он
can.
скажет, не как сможешь, а
Not
как надо.
what you can, but you do as you're
Ладно,
supposed
я
to.
постараюсь.
Okay, I'll do my best.
И делайте просто как
And
можете.
you just do what you can.
И у него есть два варианта. Или
And he
уволить
has
вас,
two options,
или
either to
оставить.
fire
А
you
если
or
вы
to
более-менее
let you
нормально
be.
работаете, он к вам
But if
привыкает,
you
и к
work
вам
normally,
имеет меньше
he gets
требований.
used to you
Больше
and
требований
he
будут
demands
тем
less of you.
женщинам, которые
He will demand
боятся
more
дарить
of
энергию
women
любви
who
и
are
ведут
afraid
себя
to
как
give energy of
механизмы
love and
в
they
общей
work
схеме.
like a small
Но
part of
женщина
a big
настоящая так
mechanism.
никогда не делает.
But the
Женщина
real woman
настоящая
never
ведет
does
себя
that.
в
She
коллективе
behaves
таким
at
образом,
work
чтоб к ней относились как
so
к
that
женщине.
she was
Она
treated
очень
as a
ласково,
woman.
по-доброму ко
She
всем
is very
относится,
gentle
но не
and
берет на
kind to
себя слишком
everyone,
много
and she does
ответственности.
not
В
take
женщине
too much
есть два
responsibility.
типа женщин в
And there are two
коллективе.
types of
Понаблюдайте за
women
вашим коллективом.
at your
В вашем
work.
коллективе есть
Observe
один
it.
тип женщин,
The first
которые
type
не
of
сильно
women
заморачиваются на работе,
are not too
ведут
bothered
себя
with work.
очень
They
по-доброму
behave
со всеми
kindly
и
with
работают
everyone,
как могут.
and
Когда
they
их
work as
спрашивают
much
о
as
том,
they
что
can.
надо
And
работать
when they are
получше,
asked
они
to
улыбаются.
work better, they smile back.
У вас таких нет, ну,
There are
в
none
этом
like
проблема
that.
вашего коллектива.
Then that is the problem at your work. No role model.
Только такие женщины выживают
Only
по факту
women
на
like
тяжелой
that
работе.
survive at hard work.
Я могу
Everyone else
сделать
leaves.
предсказание по поводу вашего
I
коллектива.
can make a prediction about
Ни
your
одна женщина
collective.
больше 5 лет в вашем коллективе не
No
задержится.
woman will
Это
work there
100%.
for longer
А
than 5
задержится
years.
только та, которая будет вести себя именно так, как я
Only
сказал.
the one that behaves the way I said can stay longer.
Если ей
She
сложно,
works
она
as
будет
much as she
отпрашиваться.
can,
Если он не
and
примет
if
такие
your boss
условия
does
игры,
not
все
accept
женщины
these
будут
rules,
меняться
he will
однажды.
have a
Никто не
circulation
задержится. У вас есть, кто
of
больше 5 лет
employees.
проработал, нет?
Has anyone worked for longer than 5 years there? As there are very few prestigious companies in Omsk with good salaries, everyone values their job.
Ага, тогда значит женщины живут в
That means
депрессивном.
that women are
Ну, это
depressed.
еще хуже.
That is even
Это
worse.
означает страсть.
That means
Видите, то
passion.
есть люди подписываются
You
на
see,
деньги. Смотрите,
people
сила
do it for
страсти, она
money.
очень просто
The
работает.
power of
Смотрите,
passion
человек
is
может
very
выбрать три
simple.
вещи в жизни.
A
Первая
person
вещь —
can
любовь и отношения.
select
Это
three
благость,
things.
означает меньше денег,
Love and
однозначно.
relationships
Дальше,
is the mode of
вторая,
goodness, but less money.
престиж,
The
деньги
second is
и
prestige,
личность,
money.
означает семья до
That
свидания,
means
дети до
goodbye
свидания,
family
любовь
and kids,
до свидания,
goodbye
сухое
love,
холодное сердце,
just
страсти,
dry heart.
которое сейчас у вас создается.
And this
И
is what
третья
you are
атмосфера — это
getting.
невежество.
And the
Это
third
теневой бизнес,
atmosphere is
проституция, там и
ignorance,
так далее.
that is
Когда
shadow
люди совсем
business,
в безнадёге находятся,
prostitution.
они работать
When
не
people
хотят,
are
деньги
hopeless, they
хотят
do not
каким-то
want to
легким
work, but
способом
they want
зарабатывать.
easy
Для женщины
money.
легкий способ деньги
For
зарабатывать —
a
это
woman, the
расслабиться и
easy way
торговать
to
своим
get
телом.
money is to
Это
get
невежество,
relaxed and
подлость.
to sell her
Для
body.
мужчины
That is
легкий
ignorance,
способ зарабатывать — это
and easy money for a man is
бандита, гангстерита,
bang
убиванками
bang,
и
we are
стрелянками любита,
gangsters.
пистолета, то и это, держи банка миллиона и плеванта на законы. Это невежество по-мужски. Но в любом
In
случае
any
невежество
way,
означает
ignorance
несчастная жизнь.
is
Там
miserable
создается
life.
несчастная, жестокая
Ignorant
среда.
environment is
Страсти
very
—
cruel
среда
and miserable.
сухая,
In
внешне
passion,
теплая,
the
добрая,
atmosphere
внутри
looks
сухая,
kind
каменная.
and warm, but inside it is dry and
Желание денег.
stone-like.
Когда
And
человек
the
ставит
reason
деньги
is
как
desire
основу
for
своей жизни, у
money.
него есть
When money is in the
определенный
center
круг
of
счастья
life,
в жизни. У
there
каждого
is
человека есть круг счастья.
a
Вот столько
certain
счастья
circle
получаю
of
от личной
happiness.
жизни, вот столько спектр
Each person
такой-то
has it.
получаю от
I
здоровья,
can get
вот
so much
такой-то
happiness
от
from my
отпуска,
family, from
такой-то
my
спектр получаю
health,
от
from
самосовершенствования, такой-то
my
спектр
vacation,
счастья
from
получаю от близких
self-realization,
отношений, от дружбы,
from
такой-то от
friendship,
детей,
from
такой-то
children and
получаю
family.
спектр от
There is some happiness
хобби.
from hobbies.
Когда человек ставит
When
работу и деньги
a person
как основу
puts
жизни, то в этом
money and
случае
work in the basis
счастье
of
от
his
отношений
life,
с супругом,
then
до свидания, некогда.
goodbye
Здоровье,
happiness
до
from
свидания.
family, goodbye health,
Работа забирает здоровье.
work
Отпуск,
takes
до
your health
свидания.
away.
Работа
Goodbye
забирает отпуск.
vacation, there is
Дружба, до
work.
свидания.
Goodbye friendship,
Работа забирает дружбу.
work also takes it away.
Самосовершенствование, до свидания.
Self-realization,
Работа забирает
goodbye,
время
there is no time for it.
Остаются только деньги,
And
престиж.
only money and prestige are left.
Больше ничего нет.
Nothing more
Ни
in life.
супруга, ни детей, ни с кем
No spouse,
отношений.
no children,
Квартира
no
комфортная,
relationships.
деньги, машина, престиж,
A
всё.
comfortable home, a car, a reputation, and
Вас устраивает такая
goodbye
судьба?
everything else. Are you fine with life like
Тогда
this?
подумайте, стоит ли вам
Then consider
стремиться к престижной работе.
if you need prestigious work. I do not care about salary, but I care about professional growth. I have some personal ambitions. But if I quit, I do not know what I will do. You can do finances in a different company with different relationships. Thank you.
Не может быть, а точно. Смотрите, у людей
I know for sure.
очень сковано.
People
Они
in
думают, что
passion
кроме этой
have
работы
very
ничего нет
limited
вообще.
consciousness. They think there is
Это
no
центр
other
вселенной,
work,
вот моя работа. Люди
like
страсть
this
так думают.
work is the
Они
most
очень
important
скованы, у
thing.
них психика
They
очень
are
скована
very
и прикована
limited.
к тому, что они имеют.
They are fixed on what they have.
Вот как вы думаете, если
How do you
меня сейчас
think
выгонят
if
из
right
России,
now I am
я
kicked out
смогу
of
быть
Russia,
счастливым человеком или нет?
can I be a happy person?
А если меня с земли выгонят, я
And
буду
if I am
счастливым
kicked
человеком или
out
нет?
from this earth, can I be happy?
То есть убьют,
I
выгонят с
mean,
земли.
I am killed,
Из
I
тела из
am
этого. Я буду счастливым
ousted
человеком или нет?
from this body. Can I be happy then?
Конечно, само собой.
Of course I can.
Но человек страсти, он ограничен в своих
But a
возможностях.
passionate person is limited in his possibilities. He is very attached to what he has. That
Не
means
хватает внутреннего развития. Надо
there is a
развиваться
lack of
дальше.
inner
Люди более
development.
свободны по природе,
Goodness
более
people are
свободны.
more
Они
free
так
by
скованы
nature.
работой, там
They
и
are
всем
not
остальным.
so attached to work and everything. My boss is also a man, He is in Moscow, but he has
Критический день бывает.
bad days. When he's in a bad mood, he reduces to tears either of us. Here on spot, we are in charge. He is a regional manager, but he reduces us to
В
tears.
невежестве находится. Человек находится в невежестве.
The person is in the mode of ignorance.
Ни через что.
How can we affect
Ни
him?
через что не повлияешь.
You
Нужно
can't.
просто,
You should
когда вы
just,
с ним общаетесь,
when you talk to
заранее
him,
быть готовым, чтобы
in
будет
advance,
гавкать,
you should be
плеваться,
ready
сморкаться.
for his
Ну,
barking and
неприятно, но
spitting.
что делать?
That is
Если вы
unpleasant.
работаете с невежественным человеком,
If you
надо
work
просто
with
держаться
an
от него
ignorant
подальше,
person,
желать
you
ему
should just
счастья,
stay away,
и
wish him
только
happiness,
деловые отношения,
and
больше ничего.
business relationships
И
only.
подальше, такие холодные деловые отношения.
Cold business relationships, big distance.
Он,
He humiliates us.
ну, он такой вот.
He's
Вот
like that.
собачка, допустим, приходит,
For
гавкает.
example, a dog comes and barks.
Какие действия?
It humiliates
Ну
you.
как,
What
вот
do you
собачка
do?
сейчас придет, гавкать будет. Какие действия?
What do you do in this
Унижать
case?
всех. Пописит, покакает.
This
будет.
dog, it
Ножку
humiliates
поднимет,
everyone.
пописит чуть-чуть.
It pees and poos.
Гавкнет, там, покакает, пойдет дальше.
It barks, it defecates and goes on. What do you do?
Невежество означает нет контроля.
Ignorance means there is no control, nothing to do. If you want to be in charge in your collective or you have no other options, you accept your fate, and each time that boss gives you work in your heart, you must pray and forgive him in your heart every day. This is a great opportunity for spiritual practice. You pray, you calm yourself down, and know that it will be the same next time, and gradually you are immune to your boss and you become wise. A wise person divides people into three categories. Goodness people, you can open your heart to forgive and discuss spiritual topics. Passionate people, you can work with them, do your duties. And ignorant people, you should stay away from. You can pass your tests through these people in life. You can suffer next to them, forgive them, ask for forgiveness, and best leave them alone. The more you touch, the more it stings. If you understand this, you are wise, and it is easy for you to live. Ignorant people have a very folded consciousness. It is in a tiny ball and there is no way out. The consciousness is reduced to achieving the goal. He does not care about you as a person. Even if you die, his heart will be unmoved. An ignorant person feels nothing even if his relative dies. He used you, you died, well, okay. He will use someone else. But you should treat him accordingly. If he does not tell you happy birthday, that's okay, that is his level. You should take it easily. You should see his level of development. But we expect different. We want human relationships, but there are no in ignorance. It affects our health badly. Your health suffers because you do not understand that in life there are always challenges and they are bad for health if the person does not fight back by praying. If you don't pray daily, the whole life will harm your health. Because in this life there are many tests and challenges that destroy us, and with prayer and inner purity you must restore your strength. There always will be ignorant people in your life. There is no doubt. If the boss in some company is very religious. He follows some very popular religion, and he demands his employees to observe the rules, at least externally. How should employees behave? I personally think that association with God is very individual, and there cannot be strict rituals. What is there to do? What should I think about it? How should I act or ignore when there is neophyte fanatism? Thank you very much. That is a great question again. If your manager, your boss is religious, that is great. But religious people are also in three categories. Being religious means being developed, but there are also three categories, and you must treat them accordingly. Religious people in ignorance means external rituals, high opinion, and hating everyone who is different. That is ignorance. The person does not really follow any rules, there are just some external things and hatred to all others. It is like the Nazis in Germany. That was faith in ignorance. And also there are people like that in any religious culture. There are ignorant people, they put on a show and hate other religions. You should stay away from such people. It is useless. These people do not have deep understanding of who God is. There are religious people in passion, and such person follows certain rules and regulations. He has faith, he follows his path, but his idea of God is limited. He does not understand that God gives each person his path, that God even allows cockroaches to live and takes care of them. God cares about everyone, and so He gives different cultures, but passionate religious people have an obsession. They think that their faith is the best, and everything else are illusions and misunderstanding. But there are a few points that they cannot reject or explain. The first point: if there is holiness in some faith, there is God. A person cannot be holy without God. If there are descriptions of life of saints, then it is true. The second point is that all the scriptures give the same moral rules, like do not kill, and it all comes from God. And the third point, if there is no God, then the scripture vanishes in time. But if the scripture has been followed for thousands of years, then for sure it came from God. And there is another important point. All people are different. It is impossible for everyone to believe in the same manner. There is different nature in everyone, and accordingly, God gives different traditions. Even within one scripture, there are different schools and traditions meant for different people. Take the Bible. There are so many traditions, or the Quran. This is how this world works. Now here is a question. If there is a passionate religious person who follows all rules, and at least externally he demands his employees to follow all the rules, praying at work, It did not come to
Ну,
this.
по крайней мере, там
Well, at least something else happened.
ну, сходили на праздник,
For
на
example,
религиозный
you
вместе там.
went to a religious holiday together.
Смотрите, есть два варианта.
There are
Во-первых,
two
вам повезло,
options.
что у вас
Firstly, you
такой
are
руководитель,
lucky to
потому
have
что это
such
хорошо.
the boss,
Если
because
человек
that
просто
is
в наше время
favorable.
верующий, это супер.
In
Это
our
означает, что у
times,
него
if a
есть совесть.
person
То
has
есть она
faith,
ограничена в
that
рамках
means
каких-то
he
действий,
has
в рамках
conscience.
своей религиозной
Even though
какой-то
it is
конфессии,
limited
но
to some
совесть есть
religious
точно. И
confession,
она
but
будет
there is
развиваться. Если
conscience,
человек духовно
and
будет
it will
развиваться, он
develop.
преодолеет вот этот
If
религиозный
the
фанатизм
person
и будет
develops, he
лояльно
will
относиться к
overcome
другим культурам
religious
духовным.
fanatism,
100% это
and
придет
he
со
will be
временем.
loyal to other
100%.
cultures.
Поэтому
It will
смотрите,
surely
вам
happen in
есть, у
time.
вас есть два варианта.
So there are two options for you.
Сделать глупость, уйти из
Either
этого коллектива,
you
или второй
quit
вариант,
that
просто
job,
принять
or
его уровень
you
развития и
accept
соблюдать
his level
спокойно
of
эти
development,
формальности, развивая
and
в
you
себе смирение
calmly
по отношению
follow
к
the
этой
rules
религиозной культуре.
and
Например,
be
я
humble to
плохо
that
себя пример
tradition.
приводить, но
It is wrong to
иногда
give examples of
таких
yourself,
людей не сильно
but
доразвитых, как я,
such
вспоминайте свои
underdeveloped
примеры.
people as me
Я вспомнил такой
remember
пример,
such
что
examples.
у меня было время, когда я
There
специально,
was
чтобы
time
развивать в
when
себе
I
принятие
purposely
и
to
терпимость
develop
духовных
humbleness
традиций,
and
которым я
tolerance
не
to
следую.
different
Я
religious
специально
traditions.
ходил на программы,
I
на
went
службы
to
в этих духовных традициях,
different
чтобы
programs
понять
and
этих людей,
services
почувствовать
to
и принять.
understand
И у меня
these
сердце успокоилось
different
по
people,
отношению к разным духовным верам.
and
Я
my
начал
heart
любить,
went
понимать и
calm
принимать
to
эти культуры,
different
те, которых,
traditions. I accepted them.
которые не являются моими.
But
А
later
потом я
I
понял,
fully
до конца уже
realized
точка была поставлена,
that
что это все
it
тоже
was
классно,
all
что
great,
нет только моей
that
культуры, есть много хороших
there is
культур
not just my
духовных, все это
culture,
от
there
Бога.
are many great
Точка была
cultures
поставлена
that
на
come
месте,
from God,
замечательно.
and
После этого у
it
меня
was
появилось
decided in
много
my
друзей с
heart.
разных духовных культур.
And now I have many friends from different cultures. Thank you.
В качестве смирения можно просто ходить и делать
Just to be
некие
more
правила,
humble,
соблюдать.
you can follow these rules. I wanted to be autonomous, and I told I
Можно
was
так, это значит, что он
an
лояльный человек.
atheist,
Если бы он был
and
совсем
he
фанатичным
said
для
I
вас,
was
трудно как
hopeless.
атеиста сработать.
Well, that means he
Но
is
не будет
loyal.
значить, что он достаточно
If
лояльный
he did
человек,
not
окей.
fire you, he is not that
Находятся как
fanatic.
верующие. Есть развитые верующие,
There
есть
are
средней степени,
developed
есть
religious
вот
people,
самые неразвитые. Развитые
and
верующие, они признают все
they
веры.
acknowledge all
Неразвитые
faiths,
фанатеют,
accept
а совсем
them.
неразвитые, они
Less
просто
developed
атрибуты
people,
носят и всё.
they get
До свидания.
fanatic or even just have some
Следующий
external
вопрос. У нас
attributes.
разворачивается хорошо беседа, да, по
The
отношению к
conversation
коллективу.
is
По
going
вопросам
nicely.
можно много-много тем поднять.
Questions allowed to discuss many different topics. Hello, my name is Katerina, and I am interested in fulfilling myself as a woman. I had this feeling that I want to go nowhere, but I came here, and I am tired of my work. I divorced my husband, and I want self-realization.
Это уже не женское, это
That
уже
is not a female thing,
душевное.
it's a soul thing. I served my husband and I
Неправильно
got
служили.
beaten. You did it wrong. I guess so. And now I do not know what to do right.
А вы не знали, как правильно служить.
You did not know how to serve.
Две грани.
There are two sides of service. The first is
вторая
giving,
грань
and the
спрашивать.
second is
Когда
inquiring.
человек отдает близкому
When the
человеку,
person gives
он
something
его
to
балует.
his close
С другой
person,
стороны, дает
he
ему в
indulges
сердце
him, and in
чувство,
the same time he gives the
благодарности,
feeling of
которое
gratitude in
не
his
видно
heart.
сразу.
It is not
Чувство
obvious,
благодарности. Если отдает
this
правильно.
gratitude,
Если вы отдаете с
if the
ожиданием,
service
что
is
по-женски
right,
часто
but
бывает,
if you
это
serve
приводит к
and expect
разрухе.
something like often
Например,
women
женщина
do, it leads
приготовила,
to
покушать
destruction.
мужу,
For example,
села
a wife
напротив него и
cooked,
сидит.
and she sits next to her husband
Она
and
сидит с
waits.
целью услышать
She
благодарность. Он просто
expects
готовит.
to hear gratitude,
Лучше
and
бы
he
готовил.
just eats,
Ни
and
один
she wishes
мужчина
she did
мне
not
сказал
cook.
такую интересную вещь,
One
что
man
я
told
сам
me
себе
one
готовлю,
interesting
потому
thing.
что когда жена
I cook
готовит,
for
это очень
myself
дорого
because
стоит.
when my wife does,
могу
it is too
оплатить.
costly. I cannot pay her back.
То есть
we serve in the mode of goodness. That means we think of God, not to have self-interest, or we cook for God. We do it selflessly. The husband eats, and you are not sorry that you heard no gratitude, but in this case, in his heart, there is surely gratitude, because the spiritual energy from this food goes nowhere. If you cook in a good mood, he has to be grateful. At the present moment, I do not want to work, I need money, no relationships, and I do not know how to get into goodness. I must do something. You must go to work. You need money, and there is another option. Go to the nunnery, and responsibility, there is a child. That is the highest responsibility, to go to the nunnery. If you have a child, you must work and develop spiritually at the same time. All people are bound in this world. We are not free. We cannot live without food, water and air, without clothes and home. That means we need to do something for other people to receive something in return. But now you speak of a different thing. You have no happiness in this life. That means it is time for you to do spiritual practice. Go to the lectures in your free time. Wish everyone happiness, forgive and ask for forgiveness. Please hear me. It will be easier, even despite your work. It is better for a woman to be in the family. Did you leave your husband, or he left you? I collected my belongings, I took the child and the dog and left. The dog is important. And is he waiting for you now? Our relationships are complicated. I think that there is still love. Does he wait for you? I do not know. How long have you been together? 16 years. I served my husband, I gave him energy, I accepted him, but I needed a feedback. Well, do it. Call him and ask, "Do you miss me? How are you? Shall we live together again?" My idea is that going into past is senseless, so you are proud. Backward or forward, you have no knowledge, you do not know that God creates relationships, and if you destroy them, you are punished. Should I then allow my husband beat me? How can I stay in these relationships? Of course you should not allow to beat you, but it does not mean you should leave him. I thought it was a matter of life. That is important, but you can call him and find out. The situation is like this. We have common friends. They have his phone number, but he does not want to speak to me directly, so they won't give me his phone number. So I have no opportunity to call him. That means that there is nothing you can do. But if you make attempts, then you can overcome your fate. You should not live with the ignorant person, but you should leave him neither. You must live separately and wait for fate to resolve the situation. If he does not want to see you, then God will give you another person. But if you left yourself, you will be responsible. Let him know you are ready to come back together on certain conditions, that you do this and that. Make conditions. Do it through your friends. I do not believe that now the man that behaved like that for 16 years, we are not talking about him. I am speaking about your future life. I am telling you in what condition God will give you another person in your life. We are not talking about your advantages, but about your difficulties. I am telling you what to do so that your heart was cold no more, so that it got warm and attracted another man. To do that, you must let your husband know that you are ready to come back if he changes. That's very difficult. It is no more difficult than being alone. You do not believe in God and people. It is also ignorance. Beating a person is the same as not believing in a person. Learn to believe in people. For that, pray. Forgive your husband in prayer and give him a second chance. But that is not humiliation. You may try to live together again, but if he behaves badly, live separately. But you must follow the law of this world. God gave you your husband. Try to make the situation better. If you do not want to live with him, you will suffer from loneliness and emptiness. That is what you do. I think that this is a very difficult topic. I have many lectures on this topic. You must listen to them attentively. This topic is very vast, but the solution stays the same. You will understand it better if you listen more, but the outcomes remain, because there are laws that you cannot deny. You should just follow these laws. In any case, to do these actions, I need to grow. You need knowledge. You must study more. Thank you. That is good. We got a bit distracted from our work. Is it time to finish? Well, the last question. Good evening. At my work, we have partners' relationships, business relationships. And the case is that the person I have contradictions with is 2 times older than I am, and he is like a mentor to me. These relationships will cause you suffering. I do not understand. The mentor must be outside business relationships. Mentorship is in different culture. He may be your mentor, but not at work. He is my mentor in business. Well, that is okay. Then we have a different idea about mentors. He's just your job teacher, but a mentor is the one who has a spiritual force. But a teacher just has some qualification. There are 3 relationships of superiority. You can respect your seniors. You should respect everyone, especially your seniors. When you respect, you allow the person to have his opinion and you allow him to make mistakes. That is respect. Then there is a great respect. You show it to your spiritually superiors. For example, you cannot have high esteem for your parents unless they are spiritually developed. And if they are not, you should respect them and allow them to make mistakes and have their opinion. You respect their opinion and you do not argue it. And there is the highest degree of respect, that is surrender. Surrendering means that you are told something and you follow it your whole life. That is the spiritual master, your mentor. These relationships are very high. That person is just your senior at work. That's okay. The question is, that person likes to be in the center of attention. But we do one job together. And whatever I do, it is wrong. And whatever he does, he thinks it's great, it's the best. At the same time, he asks for my opinion and remarks. And then he hits you over the head with it. No, he just does not accept it. And there is no development. When I make some suggestions, they are always rejected. But his suggestions do not always work. How should I behave? For example, if someone tells you to stay out of his business, what do? That is that person's level of development. You have a problem. It was from the very beginning in that word, mentor. You do not understand that material qualification of the person and his personality development may be very different. A person may be a very good professional, but undeveloped as a person. Absolutely undeveloped. You accept him as a professional, but stay away from him personally. For example, if he asks for your opinion, you only answer, "I have no remarks." All you do is splendid. This is the only thing he can accept. Wish him happiness, forgive him. That is his personal level of development. And then you will be a noble person to him. He has his level. If you want to earn money next to him, if you want to get something good, then accept that person. Know his level of development. And if you do, you will be above him. And if you don't, you are on the same level with him. If he boasts and you are resentful, there is no difference between you. There is only difference when one boasts and another forgives, accepts his inner capacity. The last question. Yes, please. Good night. My name is Dmitry. I'm a head of a new company. Today there was a lot about work collectives in passion and ignorance. These matters are quite clear. But as a manager, there are people around me. We learn from each other. That is great, great attitude. And there is understanding at work in this matter. But now there is a project coming, and I have employees for that. But each employee is so individual. They are like free artists. They have ambitions. They have big egos. And the question is, how can I unite them? How can I raise them to goodness?
Это непросто.
Goodness is
Другая тема —
uneasy.
вывести коллектив
That
на
is
благо. Вы старший
a
в этом?
different topic. You are the senior in that collective.
Вы старший.
Not
Как
by
руководитель.
age, but you are the manager. Yes,
Смотрите, все очень просто.
it's easy.
Объединять таких людей нужно идеей.
You must unite these people with an
Нужно, чтобы у вашей
idea.
фирмы, вашего коллектива
There
была
must
одна
be the
идея.
single idea in your
Развивайте
company.
эту идею, просвещайте.
Develop
Идея должна
this
быть очень
idea,
высокая.
tell
Какая-то
about
высокая,
it.
но доступная для
The
понимания
idea
людей.
must be very
Мы
high
работаем
but
ради
reachable.
такой-то цели.
We work
Поставьте
for
цель
this
какую-то
goal.
достаточно благостную.
Set
Или мы хотим,
a goodness goal.
чтобы мы, чтобы
Either
как
we
бы
want
общество наше было счастливо.
to
Ну,
make
то
the
есть
society
поставьте
happy,
идею выше личных интересов.
put the goal above
Культивируйте
individual
эту идею. Те люди,
interests,
которые не
cultivate
способны эту
it,
идею принять и понять,
and
они отвалятся из коллектива
employees unable to
сами. И
accept
вы будете
it
видеть, что
will
их ничего
go
не интересует, это
naturally.
их ограниченность.
You will see
Это
that
значит,
they
что
are
они
interested
никогда
in
не будут
nothing
развиваться,
else, and
пока
that means
не
that
начнут
they
думать об этом,
will
о
never
принятии
develop
более высокой идеи, чем
until
просто
they
зарабатывать
accept
тупо
the
деньги
higher
своими
idea than
интересами,
just
идеями,
earning
творчеством.
money dumbly with their
А есть
ideas and
другая категория
creativity.
появится, которые способны
And
будут
there
эту
will
идею
be
принять,
different
понять,
people
и
who
этих
are
людей
able
развивать,
to
и
accept
объединять
this
идеи,
idea,
давайте им полномочия.
unite
Эти
them,
люди
develop
реально
them,
будут
and
вам
give them
коллектив
authority.
развивать, спасать
They
и
will
делать
save your company and
его
develop
сильным.
it well. So, roughly speaking, those who accept this idea stay.
Факт.
And I should not be
Факт. Но,
bothered,
я из
people
наших
will be
слов понял,
chosen
что в
on
вашем
their
коллективе
own.
нет административной
But from
силы,
your
или очень
words,
мало.
I concluded
Похоже,
that
вы
there
идеолог
is
по
little
природе, идеологический
administrative
руководитель.
force
Эти
in
люди,
your
возможно, тоже идеологи,
collective.
но обязательно в
You
коллективе
are
должен
an
быть
ideologist,
администратор.
and your
Администратор — это
employees
человек,
seem to
который,
be
в
also.
своих действиях
There must be
руководствуется очень
a
простыми
manager
вещами.
and administrator
Работаем
who is
от
driven
стальки
by
до
simple
стальки,
things. We
делаем
work
то-то,
these
то-то.
hours,
Если не
we
делаем,
do
будем
this and
наказаны.
this. If we don't,
Никаких
we
дальше
are
рассуждений.
punished, and no talking.
Административное мышление обязательно нужно в
There
любом
must be
коллективе. Если этого нет,
administrative
коллектив
thinking
не может
in any
управлять.
company. Otherwise, there is no control, only chaos. Thank you.
Если только идеологи в
If
коллективе
there are
собираются,
only
они много могут
ideologists
сделать, продвинуться
in the
вперед, но там
company, they can do
дисциплины.
much and promote, but there is no discipline. They torment each other. You need a real manager who can
Который будет говорить:
control,
работаем со стальки-то, все
who
приходят на
makes
работу со
everyone
стальки, пришли,
work,
штраф.
who punishes,
Такое административное обязательное
very
управление должно
simple
быть всегда.
managing.
Спасибо всем.
Thank you all. I would like to
Сказать,
say a few words in the end,
которые
important
настроят нас
words
дальше на медитацию, на
that
пожелание
will
всем счастья.
give us meditation and wishing everyone happiness.
В этом мире очень много страданий.
There is a lot of misery in this world, and the reason we suffer is egoism in our heart. The goal of a human life is to achieve high relationships, and they are only possible with something in touch with God. All these objects are called holy or saint. These may be scriptures or a holy place or a spiritual master, spiritual music, etc. If a person is not in touch with these things in his life, he does not get strength from it, there is no opportunity to change yourself, to get developed, or to have satisfaction and happiness in life. There are many examples of people who lived together for years, then broke apart and do not want to get back together. And the point is that they enjoyed each other, and once happiness was over, they did not want to live together anymore. This concept of staying together is developed along with spiritual advancement. If in the family, along with economical development, there is spiritual development, people see each other like more than mere objects of enjoyment. then the two can listen to each other and accept. It is the same in business relationships, but there it all depends on the leader, the manager. Only he can develop the whole work collective. Employees only accept what there is. But anyway, an employee gets a workplace according to his state of mind. You must understand that. The goal of the human life is only one. We have goals that make us live for ourselves. These are work, family, children, but they will not make you happy. These are just things that you need in your life. But if the person is not interested in holiness, faith, morality, he is not interested in purifying his heart, prayer, forgiveness, if there are no these things, there is no chance at deep, bright, happy life. Furthermore, even if a person works in ignorance, but he is strong spiritually, he will not fall. It will be difficult, but his health, happiness, mood, and purity will not be destroyed. The main thing is to get right attitude to yourself. You must understand why you live, if you live right, if you waste your time or not. You must try to understand it with yourself. And if these relationships are correct, everything in your life will gradually change. You will get another work. Your family life will improve when you have knowledge. Your health will be better. It all changes depending on what you want in life. If you just want family, work, good home, that means that you live in vain. Because in these relationships, there is no deep happiness. They are selfish and are meant to sustain our life. Even with children, there are no pure selfless relationships. Children leave us when time comes, and we see that the child I invested in goes from my life and has his own life, and we then know there was no selflessness. Selflessness is only in spiritual relationships. So people break up with each other, children are not interested in their parents, and the reason is that in both family and business relationships there is no depth and purity. But you can have it in both relationships if you have it right here in your heart. If you self-improve and you start to understand your deepest need in life, then you become happy and satisfied. Before wishing everyone happiness, let me ask you one question. Which ones of you see me for the first time? Great. And please raise your hands, those who felt yesterday that some bright ray of light appeared in your life. That is important, because such conversations resurrect fate. You need to listen to the lectures for another year or two to change your life. I can say definitely, I wrote doctoral thesis based on my lectures. I studied this topic. It is called Positive Motivation for Highest Humane Values. When the person is motivated by spiritual life, his life changes undoubtedly. This is the most important thing in the human life, and it gives you victory over your fate. If you feel movement in the right direction, please go on. I will be extremely grateful to you for that. the direction means your direction. In the end, you will find your faith. It may be different than mine. There are people in this hall who have different faith, but they have been attending my lectures for years. And we have some connections, relationships. Please sit straight. The energy must go up. It gives concentration. You should remember your faith, your culture, something holy. It may be a holy scripture or an icon or the name of God, the holy place or relics of a saint, or holy water you bathed in, something that gives you sense of purity and holiness. Remember it, bow down to it. You must remember this purity and give it to others by saying, I wish everyone happiness. You remember something holy, you feel it, you bow down, you give it to others. I wish everyone happiness. And by doing so, we will feel peace in our heart, then enlightenment, you will know what to do in your life next, and then faith. The person will advance in his faith, what gives him strength in life. I wish everyone happiness. I wish everyone happiness. I wish everyone happiness.
Я желаю всем счастья. 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 Желаю всем счастья. Я 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 желаю всем счастья. Желаю всем счастья. Я 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 желаю всем счастья. Спасибо вам большое. Я желаю вам всем счастья,
I wish happiness to all of you,
благополучия,
love, fortune, health,
всего самого
all the
лучшего.
best.
Я очень
I'm
благодарен
very
вам,
grateful
что
to
вы
you
стали
for
со мной
being with
сегодня.
me.